Here's the kick. 4 seconds to play. There's the snap. The placement. The kick is on its way. It's got the distance. It's no good! It's no good! Jacksonville wins! Jacksonville wins! It's no good! Jacksonville, we've got a winner in Houston! Yes!
And what a day it was for the expansion Jaguars as they're now in the win column. It's hot and humid in North Florida. Conditioning will be a factor in the fourth quarter as the Steelers have come to play Jacksonville. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Don Criqui with Beasley, Reese. It has been a very big week for these Jaguars, a week of celebration in North Florida as Mark Brunell came off the bench to lead the expansion team that now no one wants to play to its first victory. Now he's the man, Beasley.
Well, Brunell did a great job. He's a young man. This team switches quarterbacks a lot now, but I believe this is something different. He did a super job coming back in the win. If you take a look at his statistics compared to Steve Berline, another fine quarterback, but Brunell has done a better job when it comes to completion percentage. He's also the team's leading rusher.
And the Steelers are back on track. A big win over San Diego coupled with a Cleveland loss elevates the Steelers back into a first-place tie with the Browns. Additionally, Pittsburgh gets back its starting quarterback today, Neil O'Donnell, who's been out since week 1 with a fractured hand, ready to go again.
Well, here's a look at the injury. You'll see him fall down on his throwing hand. He's got pins and weird bumps and protrusions in that right hand. Now, Don, here's the big question. The question is taking the snaps. Normally, a quarterback takes the pressure on his right hand, said, hey, boom, and so it hits him right in here on the hand. Now, what he's doing is moving his hands around a little bit. He's trying to catch the brunt of the blow with the left hand, said, hey, and so that could be a problem. We'll track it for you throughout the game, but the coach says that it will not be a problem. Here's a look at it. See him move that left hand around and catch the brunt of the blow with the non-injured hand. That could be a factor, and once again, we'll track it.
Very good, Beasley. You go in as the third quarterback. If anybody goes down, you're taking that snap well, and Neil O'Donnell was all week. Bill Cowher said the reason he really wanted to get him back in soon is he did not want him to be troubled by 6 weeks of inactivity because the Steelers go to a bye week next week. So he wanted to get him back in the lineup.
You know, there's a good close look at the hand. You can see the red area over the pinky finger. That's a bump that's about a ½ inch up in the air also. So it's something to certainly keep your eyes on during the course of this football game. But he wants to play. The coaches want him to play to make sure that he doesn't have to sit out 6 weeks and then come in a critical situation. They've got the bye week next week, and that'll help in the healing process as long as he does not bump it again today.
The Jaguars, interestingly enough, have just won the toss, and they've done that for the first time this season. Coach Tom Coughlin said, we still have to get more consistency. He wants to see 4 quarters of good football. He knows what the Steelers plan to do. Pittsburgh is back to its power game. Run the ball right at you, control the clock. When San Diego started to come back last week, the Steelers went to the power run game in the fourth quarter and controlled the ball for 11 of the final 15 minutes for Bill Cowher. He says his team, too, has a Jekyll and Hyde personality. He's looking for a personality on this team that is more consistent.
Bill Cowher is a great coach, a great guy to talk to. He's a great motivator. In our meeting the other day, it was, you know, you're excited just to sit with the guy and listen to his philosophy on football and coaching, the way he handles his players. He's a player's coach. Just a wonderful guy. He's done a super job. They're off to another great season.
Willie Jackson is back deep along with Jimmy Smith, who received the kickoff for the Jaguars. Ron Johnson ready to kick it off, and he is into the ball, and we're underway for a sold-out crowd of 73,000 at one of the great stadiums in football. Here's Jimmy Smith for Jacksonville, and he gets the ball to about the 21-yard line. There, Jacksonville goes first and 10 after a 20-yard return. Chris Oldham was down to make the tackle. Tony Baselli, the number 2 player picked in the entire draft, now back in at left tackle after a knee problem. He is terrific, but he'll find out how good today when he has to face up with some of the great Steeler rushers. Brunell at quarterback. James Stewart is a rookie from Tennessee. He's their prime runner. Jackson and the former Heisman winner Desmond Howard started wide receivers. Jacksonville will go to a double tight end often with the former Boston College All-American Pete Mitchell, a good pass catcher. On first and 10, Brunell takes a look. The Steelers come with a blitz from Chad Brown. Brunell is on the run, and he's got some room. And Brunell is ahead for 12 yards. and a Jaguars first down.
That is their offense. In case you haven't seen the Jaguars play very much, Brunell has been one of the most productive players on the team. He's the leader when it comes to yardage gained on the ground. If it's not there, he will tuck it down and take it away. Now, this is not to say he's a running quarterback, but he certainly does it well. You see him here finding his blocking. The linemen know that he might run, and they immediately jump out front. It's a good gain for a first down and a good start by Brunell.
You see, he is the leading rusher, almost 8 yards a carry for this third-year player from the University of Washington. Originally a Green Bay Packer on a cutback move. The Jaguars get a good run straight up the middle. A penalty marker goes down. Brenston Buckner, Joel Steed, and Ray Seals across the defensive front. And there's going to be a holding call, looks like Beasley signaled against Jacksonville. So we look at the lineup of the Steelers in their secondary. Deion Figures no longer starting, coming in as a nickelback. Willie Williams and Alvoid Mays, the starting corners last week. They each had 2 interceptions. Each ran one of them back for a touchdown. So they've stepped in nicely for Bill Cowher in the absence of their all-pro Rod Woodson, who's out for the season with a knee injury. And Deion Figures still troubled by the knee that took a bullet last summer in Los Angeles.
Unbelievable story there by Deion, but they say he's about 75 or 80% back, so we may see him in the game a few times.
Brunell takes a deep drop, lets it go with the left hand. Wide open is a tight end. Down the field with the ball, and inside the 40-yard line is Rich Griffith. And the Jaguars burn the Steelers with a deep hit. They were looking run, and a 39-yard pass play is the result.
Well, fans in Pittsburgh, if you haven't seen this team a lot, it's a team that does a super job when it comes to mixing up plays. Play action there to James Stewart. This is a superior throw and an even better catch by Rich Griffith. That had to be a blown coverage in the secondary, and the fine secondary the Pittsburgh Steelers are down.
It was a blown something because that 39-yarder and Griffith was running all alone. Again, Brunell drops, fires in the flat. Again, he has an open receiver. As all of a sudden, the Jaguars are ripping open the vaunted Steeler defense. Willie Jackson, Jacksonville's leading receiver, with his 16th catch, another first down. This for 21 yards.
Willie Jackson is a new and very exciting player on this football team. You see that Alvoid Mays is giving him plenty of room. He turns out of his back pedal too soon. That's the reason that Jackson is open. A DB should be able to backpedal longer than that before he's forced to turn out. Great effort after the catch by Willie Jackson.
So the biggest plays of the season in succession for the Jaguars, as they now have gained 60 yards on consecutive pass plays.
Willie Jackson with 15 catches. He got 13 in the last 2 weeks.
That was his 16th, and it's good for a first down. Here's a handoff, slanting running, and power running is James Stewart. And all of a sudden, this Jacksonville team that ranks number 30, dead last in the NFL on offense, looks like the 49ers.
Don, suddenly we realize this is no accident. This is good blocking up front against one of the most famous defenses in the league. They are doing whatever they want to do against the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's Kevin Gilbride, the offensive coordinator. He's put some great offenses together, of course, when he was in Houston. And, man, is he calling some plays right now.
Really changing it up, going deep early. They've been conservative, and they're breaking out of that mold right now. Handoff, Stewart cutting back. He's close to the 5-yard line where the Steelers nose tackle Joel Steed and Ray Seals, the right end, combine on the stop.
Coach Coughlin told us that, and Kevin Gilbride also told us that suddenly this team really believes it can win games. I mean, the way they responded in the latter part of the Houston game. We see James Stewart with a little limp. He's playing with the banged-up shoulder. Taking a lot of hits, the rookie out of Tennessee. Randy Jordan will take his place, number 23. We saw him make some good plays early on in the season.
Yeah, he scored their first touchdown on a 71-yard pass play against the Bengals.
I tell you, this is no accident. These guys are blocking, running, good play calling. They are pushing the Steelers down the field.
And now the Jaguars have it, second down and goal at the Pittsburgh 6. Brunell, quick of foot, takes a look. He'll not get away from the Steeler rush this time, as Princeton Buckner, who was doubtful in midweek, is back in the lineup and the first man in on the sack.
You know, when I looked at this game and started to try to analyze what would happen, you know, I figured there will be a lot of sacks today because Brunell's going to hold the ball. He's going to look to run. That time, good coverage by the secondary. They were in a zone down at the goal line, and that's always a killer for an offense. You expect man for man most of the time. You call a play that's successful in man for man. When they run a zone, sometimes you're caught with nobody to throw to.
Brunell, sometimes when he's caught with nobody to throw to, is at his best, though. He's a good runner, but here come the Steelers again, and over the middle throw and a connection. It's in for a touchdown. Cedric Tillman on a slant pattern takes the throw from Brunell, who eluded the rush. And Cedric Tillman goes in the end zone with his first touchdown.
Well-coached football team. Brunell gets good protection up front. No harassment whatsoever. He's able to look and find Cedric Tillman, and Tillman backpedaling into the end zone.
So a sensational opening drive by the Jaguars, their best of this season, their first season. Now on the field for them is Mike Hollis to try the point after. Brian Barker is his holder, and the kick is on the way and good. So an early surprise at Jacksonville Stadium, and with 10:18 to go in the first quarter, it's the Jaguars 7 and the Steelers nothing. You are watching the NFL on NBC.
Look at the bottom of your screen, number 27, Willie Williams. When they start the play, he will start to cover Tillman, then point him off, turn him off to another man at the top of the zone. That player not getting there fast enough, and he simply backs in. He let him go to Greg Lloyd, number 95. Zone coverage, the guy saying you, me. Williams says you to Greg Lloyd, and Lloyd not able to get over there in time to keep Tillman out of the end zone.
And some sensational numbers, Beasley, for Brunell. 3 of 3 for 69 yards in that opening drive and a touchdown. Here's Ernie Mills for the Steelers. Breaks it across the 20 and gets out close to the 25-yard line. He runs into a stone wall there. Santos Stevens makes the knockdown for the Jaguars, a return of 22 yards. The offensive front for the Pittsburgh Steelers, led by All-Pro center Dermontti Dawson. Neil O'Donnell with Steve Avery starting at fullback today because of the injury to John L. Williams. Eric Pegram, a real threat running the ball, a super quick back who had 93 yards and 3/4 against the tough Charger defense a week ago. Pegram, good yardage, hangs it across the 30-yard line out to the 31. He got close to a 7-yard gain. Takedown on the play. The middle linebacker McManus was on the play.
Here's O'Donnell taking the snap. You see that he catches the brunt of the pressure, that time actually with the right hand, the injured hand. And you know, Don, I kind of figured once he got in game condition in the heat of the battle, you can say whatever you want to say, but he's going to do what he's done for 19 years, and that's take that snap the way he takes it.
Yeah, that's probably right. It's awful hard to change. O'Donnell goes to the run again. Again, it's Eric Pegram with all those cutback moves. He's to the 35-yard line and close to a Steeler first down. As the front four for the Jaguars, their best player this year has been the right end, Jeff Lageman, 56 out of Virginia, the former New York Jet. He's been one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. Gogenius, the middle linebacker, has moved to left linebacker because of injury there, and McManus starts at middle linebacker. Corners are veterans. They're solid. The extra DB coming in on the nickel, which they play a lot. Right now, the Steelers go to a power set. 2 big backs, Bam Morris and Steve Avery. Morris is the deep back on 3rd and inches. That's Bam. And he goes boom for 3 yards. First down, Pittsburgh, out to the 37-yard line, stopped by Don Davey.
This is the offense that the Pittsburgh Steelers would like to employ throughout the game. Solid running, not too much pressure on O'Donnell to throw coming off the injury in his first game back. They'd like to see 3-4 yards a pop, and then a first down by Big Bam Morris, and that's what they got here in the first part of this series. Once again about O'Donnell, he's been a quarterback for 19 years. He's not going to change the way he takes the snap.
There's his offensive coordinator, Ron Earhart. O'Donnell again goes to the run. They'll run it till they stop it, and they did stop it on that play. Gilganius, at linebacker, the former Buffalo Bill, number 54, makes the knockdown on Eric Pegram.
You will find that this Jacksonville Jaguar defense is a pretty talented group. They're rated around the middle of the National Football League. Look at Gilganius and Davey, Pritchard, all of those guys closing up the inside and converging to the ball quickly. It's an impressive defense, especially for an expansion team.
It is. It grades out in the top half of the league on defense. Offense was rated number 30 and last, but that opening drive changed some minds as an out pattern goes to the fullback Steve Avery, and he's got taken out by Mark Williams. Gain of about 6 yards on the play as James Stewart, who set all the rushing records at Tennessee, a first-round draft pick, one of 2 that the Jaguars had in their first season. It's the right ankle retake. Andre Hastings has been a big factor on third down for the Steelers. 19 catches, and 11 of them have come on third down. He's in the game now. There's Andre in the slot to the right. 4 wide set. O'Donnell in the shotgun. He stands in. There's the rush, and O'Donnell gets it away nicely. And the ball is taken out to the 45-yard line as Fred McAfee gets it out of the backfield. But he is short of a first down, so the Steelers will have to punt on their opening possession.
They send 5 receivers out into the pattern, Don. As a result, there's not a lot of people left to block. So you see that McAfee comes out immediately. He doesn't check to block anybody. O'Donnell very athletic to get that ball out of his hands at the last second.
Yes, he was, but it was not resulting in a first down. Desmond Howard is back deep for the Jaguars. The punter, Ron Stark. He's blocked. Markers are down at the line of scrimmage.
Well.
False start. Steelers were lucky because that negates the play. A false start comes before the snap of the ball.
That is a huge break for the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Jaguars were about to pick that up and walk it in. Of course, it helps you to block if you.
That's right. That was a huge. Rarely do you get a penalty. It's a big break, but that was one. You can see that this punt block's going to come again, though. There's an overmatch somewhere in the middle of the Steeler blocking alignment. And a snap. Another big rush. Stark booms the ball. From the 6-yard line, Desmond Howard turns to the outside, and he's taken down in a good open field tackle. Coming up to make the play was Fuller, and that will give the Jaguars the ball at their 16-yard line as the NFL on NBC continues with Jacksonville in a 7-0 lead.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Honda, who offers an impressive family of cars, sport utility vehicles, and minivans. By Northwestern Mutual Life, there are a lot of good reasons for choosing the quiet company. And by Red Dog Beer, bold yet smooth, unusually easy to drink. You are your own dog.
Desmond Howard also with an ankle turn on the punt return. So he's being looked at. Checked out. He looks like he'll be ready to come back in as the Jaguars, leading 7-0, go back on offense. Burnell again with a first down throw. Loses the ball. He shuffled it under him. It might go as a catch. LaShawn Maston's fullback ran over the middle when he saw his quarterback in trouble to give him a safety valve to throw to.
They rule here that Burnell's pass is an incomplete pass. It hits the ground, but that's too long. You can't hold the football that long against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Good call by the referee. The end of the ball does go down.
James Stewart back in the backfield now for the Jaguars. And the Steelers shut down Jacksonville's run. Nothing happening there as James Stewart tried to go wide left. Old Steve, the nose tackle, came across and got him.
That looks more like a Steeler defensive effort. That last drive by Jacksonville has caused for legitimate concern on the Steelers sideline because the Jaguars are rated 30th, dead last in offense in the National Football League. That shouldn't be happening to the Steeler defense.
But it did, and in that opening drive, Brunell threw 3 times for 69 yards and a touchdown. Payoff in from 12 yards out to Cedric Tillman. Here's Brunell against a big rush. He's hammered. Kevin Green coming from the left side. Broke over the blocker. Ryan DeMarco, a rookie tackle from Michigan State. And Brunell is shaken up.
Well, Brian DeMarco, number 73, right there blocking against Kevin Green, is a decided, a classic, and unbelievable mismatch. Green is one of the best rushers in the league. DeMarco is a big, strong man, great pass run blocker, but not real quick feet. He'll have trouble with Green, Don, all game long.
Yeah, that was evident there. Once an offensive lineman spins around, it's over. Here is Andre Hastings running the punt back for Pittsburgh. He's really stepped up, done a great job for the Steelers since the injury to Rod Woodson. And that will give the Pittsburgh Steelers the ball at the 37-yard line here in the first quarter as Jacksonville still leads 7-0. With Beasley, Reese, this is Don Criqui back at Jacksonville Municipal Stadium. Reggie Clark, linebacker for the Jaguars, being looked at as Neil O'Donnell drops and throws on first down. A well-thrown ball and a square out to receiver Charles Johnson. That's for about 8 yards. They expect number 81 to catch a lot more balls now that Neil O'Donnell's back in Beasley. They really timed up well last year together.
I promise you that there's nothing wrong with Neil O'Donnell's ability to throw the football. The out pattern is the most difficult to throw in the game. It's the longest throw from the middle of the field all the way to the sideline, and Neil delivered that one perfectly with a lot of zip. So I guess we can put to rest the hand story unless he gets hit on it.
Yeah, they said he threw well all week, and that was evident there. O'Donnell now gives to Eric Pegram as he breaks it up and out to midfield. He has a first down for Pittsburgh. Eric Pegram out of North Texas State. An interesting story. He gained almost 1,200 yards 2 years ago with Atlanta. Last year when June Jones took over as coach, they ran him barely not at all. They went more to a controlled passing game, and Steelers got him as a free agent.
He's a good runner. He offers a tremendous change of pace to the Steeler offense, a lot of speed. I'm worried about his ability to hear. You know, he's got that Cadillac with about 90,000 speakers in it. Loves his music real loud.
Yeah, he's got a walking boombox or a riding boombox. Here's the throw in the flat. Again, O'Donnell swings it out, this time to Avery, as the Steelers, with a controlled passing game, move the ball methodically down the field. But they've been surprised early on the outstanding offense of the Jaguars on that first possession when they went down the field and scored.
And Avery's an interesting story. You talk about never quitting. This is a guy that was cut 7 times in the National Football League. But, you know, that's what sports is all about. Don't quit, never give up. And here he is on one of the finest franchises in the history of pro football. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler.
29 years old and just his second year with the Steelers. Pegram runs on 2nd down and 6. Not a lot happening there as he's shut down quickly. On the tackle was Tom McManus, the middle linebacker for Jacksonville. He played for Tom Coughlin at Boston College. Talk about Pegram's car. He's got a 71 Cadillac DeVille. About 90,000 watts of speakers in the back seat. The mean Green Eagles and Beasley Reese among them.
Hey, nice job, guys. It's a fine institution.
Yes, it is. It's had a great program, too, over the years. Big stick put on Charles Johnson. Coming up to make the hit was Vinnie Clark along with Dave Thomas, number 41. So the Steelers are shut down on 3rd down, and Ron Stark again comes out to punt as the Steeler drive is stopped.
But the Jacksonville Jaguars are not a team that you want hanging around.
That's right.
Because they play solid football. They won't make a whole lot of mistakes.
All the Steelers we talked to yesterday echoed that same refrain. The longer they hang around, the tougher they're going to be to beat. and they're hanging right in. Here is a punt off the side of the foot of Ron Stark, but he does angle it inside the 20, and it caroms out of bounds at about the 12-yard line. So it worked out well. 33-yard punt, but it's all net yardage, no return. The Jaguars will have the ball when we return with the NFL on NBC. Next Saturday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, NBC Sports takes a look on what has been a truly great year and a one to remember in the world of golf. Who can forget Corey Pavin's clutch shot on 18 to frustrate Greg Norman and win the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. It's been that kind of a year. Relive the great moments, the USGA year in review, next Saturday here on NBC. Brunell with a quick drop, fires it out, makes a connection, gets the ball out to Willie Jackson on a slant pattern. They have to do it that fast. When we talked with Kevin Gilbride yesterday, the offensive coordinator for Jacksonville, it was interesting. Beasley, he said no matter how much you try to simulate the Steeler defensive speed in practice, you can't do it. When you get in the game, they're faster than the guys you're practicing against.
No, in order to simulate Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green coming off those corners, they would have to put defensive backs there to run and get those tackles used to that type of speed.
Here's a handoff up the middle. James Stewart, the big back from Tennessee, runs. Carnell Lake, strong safety for the Steelers, comes up and gets him.
Carnell Lake is one of the special athletes on that football team. He is the 8th and unaccounted man in the defense. You set up your blocking scheme as an offense to take care of the linebackers and the defensive linemen. If you're successful and a hole is created, for Pittsburgh, they've got an all-pro safety who's always standing there. And that's what he did that time.
Maybe the best pair of safeties in the NFL, and Carnell Lake and Darren Perry. It's number 37, Lake. But it is a first down for Jacksonville. Brunell, quick drop, long ball. Just overshoots the fleet Jimmy Smith, the former Cowboy, running a fly pattern on the far sideline with a step on Elvoid Mays, and Mark Brunell, Beasley, with a big league arm. Pumped out 65.
Look at the pressure coming from the side here. This is the #1 concern that they were talking about. You see Kevin Green get around Brian DeMarco. DeMarco is a rookie. He's taking a lesson today. And so he's got probably the biggest challenge on this football field today, stopping the great Kevin Green.
He outweighs Green by about 80 pounds, but in foot speed, he's not on the same planet with Green.
And 10 times stronger than Green.
Doesn't help when he runs around you. James Stewart again. Carnell Lake stops him. DeMarco was the second-round draft choice of the Jaguars out of Michigan State. Very good run blocker, but he's got to get those feet moving quicker to withstand the likes of Kevin Green.
Well, Donnie's 325. There's Carnell Lake again. See, the team had everyone else accounted for. Look at him, read the play, instantly shoulder in the right position to stop James Stewart on that very spot. Same spot he hit him at, he stopped there.
Tough play now for Brunell and the Jaguars. Third down, they need 10, and here comes the Steelers with a blitz. Lloyd is coming, they pick him up. There's a throw and a drop. Wide open was Willie Jackson. And Deion Figures covering him, and not very well. A perfectly executed play and a drop by Willie Jackson that will not put him in good stead with Coughlin, who cannot abide mistakes, even with a young team.
He made a couple of good catches in this football game, but, you know, he saw Figures coming up. I'm surprised that Figures pulls up there. I mean, that could have been a simultaneous ball hitting the body, man hitting the receiver. Deion should have given him a pop there.
Ryan Barker gets the ball down, and Andre Hastings to return the punt for the Steelers. He lets the ball on the field. Jacksonville has it. Rashai Maston gets it to the 31-yard line. First big break of the game goes to the expansion Jaguars, a 56-yard punt. But Hastings, who's run one back this year for 72 and a touchdown, coughs it up.
They try to tell you to stay on the ground, but when a guy gives this type of effort, I don't know what you can say to him. Hastings trying to gain more yardage, jumps up in the air, gets the ball pulled out of his hands. Watch the leap. That's a great move. And then the leap here as he tries to jump over a crowd of people. Ball comes out of his hand, and the opportunistic Jacksonville Jaguars enthusiastically grab it and get ready to go on offense.
And shaken up. It looks like Maston recovered the fumble. A little slow getting up. Probably fell on the ball. So while he's attended to after a very big play, Jacksonville gets set to continue its offense at the 31-yard line of Pittsburgh.
This is a huge defensive stand for the Steelers. When we were talking with Coach Bill Cowher, he said that his team got out of rhythm, out of their game plan a few times in the losses because they got in situations where they had to throw the ball every time. Now, this is the 19th turnover for the Steelers, and they had 17 all last season. So you can see this is a team that's not going in the right direction when it's coming to mistakes.
Now, Tom Coughlin said yesterday the league is abuzz with talk about the Steelers who usually protect the ball so well, turning it over so much early. 7 turnovers against the Vikings in a blowout loss. Brunell stands in. Here comes Green. Brunell fires downfield, and it's off the hands of a receiver, and somehow he got the ball right where it had to be downfield, but it was incomplete. Even a huge rush could not keep him from throwing it accurately.
Don, if they don't get number 73 Brian DeMarco some help, somebody has got to hit 91 Kevin Green. Now, as I look at the replay, I realize that DeMarco wasn't on Green that time, but you can't let a guy like Kevin Green come flying in there untouched. Nobody blocked him.
Brunell now 4 of 9 throwing the ball for 77 yards and the touchdown. That was in the opening drive when he was perfect throwing it. Brunell on the run. Not done. Dives down to the 21-yard line. It looks like he has a Jaguar first down. A man who makes it happen is finally taken down by Chad Brown and Carnell Lake. Brunell was caught, seemingly lost, but once again he escapes.
Don, don't look for the slide, okay? This guy becomes a running back as soon as he starts running. 2 rushes for 23 yards. Kevin Green with the miss. Does he slide? No, he bounces to the outside because his determination, his concentration is on that first down marker, and he gets there.
So as the first quarter is about to wind out, the Jaguars are challenging again, leading 7-0. LaShawn Maston, who recovered the fumble, booms his way inside the 15-yard line. He gets down to the 14. So it has been a big quarter for the expansion Jaguars as they lead the favorite Steelers 7-0 after a quarter of play. On a humid day now becoming overcast in Jacksonville, Florida, the Jaguars, as we open the second quarter, challenging at the Steelers' 15-yard line. 2nd down and 4 coming up.
The Jaguars completely outplaying the Steelers right now. There's young Mr. Beasley. Tony Beasley, #1 pick by this team. He's doing a good job. You haven't heard us mention his name. His counterpart, Brian DeMarco, also a rookie this year. Very talented, very strong. They say he takes 405 pounds, and does reps with it, meaning lifts it over and over.
Yeah, but that doesn't help you lift Kevin Green when he
doesn't help you get your feet out underneath Kevin Green.
So it goes by you like a golden black blur. But the Jaguars have completely outplayed the Steelers so far in this game. Pittsburgh, a 2-touchdown favorite in the local papers. Here's a throw by Brunner, makes a connection. Ball is taken down by Craig Keith, a former Steeler. He's down close to the 9-yard line. It looks like he has a Jacksonville first down. Chad Brown finally got him, number 94, pointing at his former teammate.
Well, Brian DeMarco, #1, does a good job on Green, giving Brunell the ability and the time to throw to that side. And then this is not the Steeler defense. This is not Steeler defense. Steeler defense does not allow a tight end to catch the ball and drag people. They better wake up down there.
Brunell hands off. Now to run, heading for the end zone and down to the goal line, but not in. Is James Stewart. Pumping his legs, a man who broke all the University of Tennessee rushing records. He was the 19th player picked in the draft. And the Jaguars leading 7-0, challenging to put up another touchdown. Don Coughlin checks the play sheet.
they're giving him the touchdown, Don.
They are giving it to him.
Yeah, I was about to say, if that's not a touchdown, it's as close as humanly possible.
Wow, delayed call, but they do give a touchdown to the Jaguars. We'll watch again.
You know, it looks like this ball lands just shy of breaking the plane. Let's see.
Oh,
well, I didn't see him break the plane, but
well, somebody did.
Somebody saw it.
20 seconds after the fact, the two arms went up, and it is a touchdown for Jacksonville. Mike Hollis now on to try the point after. The ball is kicked up and good. One of the interested spectators today as the Jaguars have taken a 14-0 lead is Chuck Noll, the great Steeler coach of yesteryear, and we'll be talking to him when we come back. Coach Bill Cowher and the Steelers up against it right now, trailing the underdog Jaguars 14-0. And the man who preceded so successfully Bill Cowher, Chuck Noll, coach of 4 Super Bowl championship teams. What about this game, Coach?
Well, these are always the toughest ones, where the general wisdom is that you're supposed to win and win big. Those were always the toughest games to prepare for.
What are you doing now?
Well, I'm trying to do as little as possible, but it's not working.
Well, stay here for a minute, if you would, Coach, and take a look at this with me and Beasley as we see the kickoff coming downfield. Running the ball back is Ernie Mills for the Steelers, and right now these Jaguars are a pumped-up group. A 14-yard return on the play. So you have to wonder, what would Coach Cowher, what would you tell a team at halftime? We're a ways away from halftime, but they've got to regroup. They really got hit with some big plays early.
They sure did. You know, it's you just go back to what you've been doing and what you've been doing well. Actually, they want to run the football, obviously. That's the way it looked in the first part of the ball game. Neal's hand, I guess, is fine.
Yeah, he seems to be throwing well. O'Donnell leads the Steelers. First down and 10. Handoff. Eric Pegram runs and breaks it across the 35 and out to the 39-yard line. A gain of 19 yards and a Steeler first down.
Is that a North Texas State guy?
That's a North Texas State guy, Coach. And that's the kind of play that you need. You need somebody to make a play like that to shut down the crowd and to change the momentum a little bit.
No question about it.
Now, what kind of blocking is this, Coach? Take us through this.
Good blocking. That is a large
big
hole.
Well, he's been quite a find for the Steelers. I mean, this guy is nice little shot in the arm, a lot of spark.
Steelers need to answer on this drive, down 14-0 early in the second quarter. Pegram again. And again, he breaks it to the outside. It's a foot race. Darren Carrington finally gets him out of bounds. And a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage, which Coach Noll spotted right away.
Well, Coach, it must be on a lineman. The lineman didn't move. They stood right there. Those big guys are not going to run downfield and have to come back.
Mike Carey, the referee, against the Steelers, so it comes back. The big play comes back on a holding call.
Well, you got what was developing into a beautifully set up running play. Watch Pegram here. He's got a nice little lane. Hops over one man, but the blocking was superb.
Bruner might have had a hold of somebody. At any rate, someone is called on the hole. We didn't get it with the crowd noise. But it is a penalty assessed against the Steelers, setting them back to the 30-yard line. So we'll see if on first down and long yardage. First and 20 if Neil O'Donnell airs it out. He's taking a deep drop. Here comes the rush. O'Donnell with a strike up the middle, and he's almost intercepted. Jonathan Hayes was its target, and a rookie middle linebacker almost made the pick for Jacksonville. Brian Schwartz.
O'Donnell here is looking around. I thought he would take number 81, Charles Johnson, coming down low, but he tries to get it right between two defenders, and it didn't work out.
We're with Chuck Noll. Chuck, what went wrong on that opening drive when Jacksonville hit the Steelers for those big pass plays? What was the breakdown?
You know, they played just some good football. You know, I don't know if you had a breakdown as much as you had good play by Jacksonville.
Here's a throw to Bruner, the #1 draft choice of the Steelers. But everybody in the secondary seems to get a shot at him when he catches the ball, and that brings up 3rd down and long. Beasley?
Coach, can you feel the momentum changing inside the game? I mean, you can feel right now that Jacksonville is everywhere. They're hitting hard.
They have been right from the outset. You know, that's one of the things that you have to be able to offset by your play. You know, you meet a team and they're all fired up, and then you have to come out and let them know what's going to transpire. And so far, the Steelers haven't done that.
Jacksonville keeping 7 back to defend against the pass. A throw by O'Donnell. He gets it out to Charles Johnson. Looks like he's going to be out of bounds at the 45, a couple of yards short of where Pittsburgh needed to go. He got 10 on the completion, but they needed 12.
That was very close, but I don't think it's
he didn't get it
for the first down. He did not get it.
Hey, this stadium, Coach Chuck Noll, sounds like 3 Rivers at playoff time.
This is a fantastic facility. It really is.
I've never seen a better one. It's sensational. But it has not been a great day for Pittsburgh so far, as Jacksonville with a 14-0 lead, ready to get the ball back. Ron Stark to punt the ball for the Steelers. The humidity comes into play here, particularly in the 4th quarter. Conditioning's a factor when you play down in Florida this early in the year.
Well, it's not as bad early in the year as it is late in the year, because it's still warm in the northern cities, and you get used to the fluid transfer. But when you come down here in December and it's hot, that's when you really have a problem. We had a few people, you know, with heat prostration in pregame warm-up, I should say. You know, because you're not used to that fluid exchange. You're up there practicing in the cold weather. You know, I think right now they should be all right.
Chuck, what about the emotion of the game? I mean, they've won such a big game a week ago, the Steelers did, beating their arch rivals in a rematch of the AFC title game. Keeping that emotional high, even when you want to do it, is awful tough to do.
There's no question about that. And that's when it's, you know, really tough. You got to get your message across.
Desmond Howard with the punt return gets out to the 17-yard line. A 47-yard punt by Stark of the Steelers, an 8-yard return with 11:08 to go. Jacksonville ready to take over the ball. And we say thanks to Coach Chuck Noll for stopping by.
Tom, thank you.
Let's get back and watch the rest with Dan Rooney.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by the all-new Ford Taurus, a look you've never seen from a name you know well. By True Value, the official hardware store of the NFL. By Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. And by McDonald's. Have you had your break today?
Jacksonville with a big start. They took the ball and went down the field with Brunell throwing 3 times, completing all 3 for 69 yards. The final one for 12 yards and a touchdown to Cedric Tillman. They've built on that lead since after a fumble recovery of a punt. And now it's the Jaguars with the ball on a 14-0 lead, opening the 2nd quarter with a running play on the ball in the hands of James Stewart, knocked down by Joel Steed and Carnell Lake. Beasley?
James Stewart is taking just a basic play over the left side, running behind Beasley and Jeff Novak that time. And you have to watch now to see what how the play calling changes for Jacksonville up 14-0. Will they keep it wide open? Will they get a little conservative and try to take it to the halftime? We'll see.
Second down. We're now with a Very short drop, not even a three-step drop. The rush was so great from Kevin Green. He tried to loft it to Pete Nitzel, but he couldn't get it to him. As the Bills continue to lead the Jets 3-0.
That was a blitz by Cornell Lake. You see 81 there in your monitor. Desmond Howard went down and actually blocked a quarterback when the ball was being thrown to him. That's because he didn't get the adjustment. He didn't get the checkoff.
That puts Brunell in a hole now. Third down arises. He was originally a fifth-round draft choice of the Green Bay Packers. Jacksonville got him in a trade. Eagles were trying hard to make a trade to get him. Here's a screen pass to Shai Maston and a terrific defensive play. Greg Lloyd, number 95, the all-pro linebacker, blew by the blockers, made the stick, no gain on the play, and Jacksonville has to punt it to the Steelers.
Don, those are the plays that really go unnoticed in football. Had he not have made that play, Lachey would still be running. He had two blockers in front of him. A great athletic play for Lloyd to get between them and make the stop.
Andre Hastings back to return the punt of Brian Barker. There's Andre. Maybe a little jittery. You recall he fumbled his last one. Big hit downfield. He lets it hop. And it's down by the Jaguars at the 28-yard line of the Steelers. So Neil O'Donnell in Pittsburgh goes on offense after a 49-yard punt by Jacksonville. The NFL on NBC continues. The Steelers' first half possessions: punt, punt, and punt. And the possession that was so short-lived when Hastings had the ball on a punt return and coughed it up. Subsequently turned into a second touchdown by Jacksonville. O'Donnell run down, almost a late hit. Don Davey coming after him, and here's a flag down, and well, there should be one, as O'Donnell released the ball and Davey crashes on him, and Donald probably said, "Hey man, you're doing your best, I know, but it was late."
O'Donnell was trying to set up a screen that time, and it just was not open. Jacksonville was everywhere. We can catch the last part of this play. Neil is trying to wait for the running back to work his way clear. Then he just throws it out of bounds.
2 fouls on the play. Pass interference against the offense, number 43. And roughing the passer, number 92 on the defense. Goes foul offset. Replay, first down.
Well, Jacksonville got the better of that ruling.
Yes, and how?
Well, you know what? You can't ride the quarter. Once the quarterback lets it go, I mean, I think he was okay hitting O'Donnell, but then when he wrapped him and dropped his weight on top of him, that's where you got a little bit out of the rules. You can't do that.
Well, that's how so many of these guys are getting hurt, when the 300-pound lineman, particularly on artificial turf, crash him down and driving his shoulder into that hard surface, like knocking him down into a parking lot. This is a great playing field, not that awful artificial turf. Here's a handoff to Eric Pegram straight ahead. He's across the 35-yard line out to the 37. A gain on the play of about 8 yards. Kelvin Pritchett makes the stop.
The surprising part about Pegram's play is he's a small guy, but he runs like a much larger man. Now you'll take a look at the end of this play and you watch how many yards he'll take Pritchett for. Pritchett hits him now 1, 2, 3. He carries a 280-pound man another 3 steps.
Well, he prides himself on his toughness, does Eric Pegram. Said it began when he first started playing football at age 5 in the hot Texas sun. 2-hour practices. Here's another run by Pegram. Nobody could take their helmet up. Nobody could drink water. He said, "You learned to be tough early under my first coach, Coach Sparks."
Well, you never forget that first tough coach.
And you keep getting them.
Nope. And they're lined up in Texas. All of them are cruel.
It's the national game.
Holding on the offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty, repeats second down.
Tell you, there's 2 places where football's big time. It's Texas and Pennsylvania, particularly western Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Texas, and I know what Pegram's talking about when he talks about that heat and the fact that in those days they wouldn't give you any water. That was a sign of weakness.
I guess when you passed out and they brought you around, they've gotten away from that now because they realize how the deleterious effect of not drinking water is They're going to need a lot today on this hot, humid day in North Florida. Charles Johnson running a deep pattern. Good coverage by the former New Orleans St. Vinny Clark. So O'Donnell trying to get something going deep as his counterpart Brunell did early in the game. But so far nothing happening for the Steelers with big play offensive tries.
Steelers still shooting themselves in the foot with penalties.
There's the third down man, Beasley, 88, Andre Hastings. 11 of his receptions on third down.
If I was looking at the scouting report, that's who I'd be doubling right now if I'm Jacksonville.
Johnson goes in motion. O'Donnell takes a look, throws an out pattern. He was looking at Hastings, but could not time up with him as Hastings tried to come back at the ball, and the Jaguars defense holds again. Let's watch Hastings.
You know, if we look at the stats and figure that out, you got to know Jacksonville is looking at the stats. They know that Hastings is the big guy, and look at Vinny Clark is practically squatting, waiting on him to break out. As a result, O'Donnell had to be very careful with the throw.
These same two teams play at the end of the month at Three Rivers Stadium. I think it's October 29th they hook up again. Desmond Howard lets the punt drop. It's down. And the Steelers will send their defensive unit back out again. The Carolina Panthers are now in the lead. They're leading the Bears 10-7 on a 66-yard Kerry Collins to Mark Carrier touchdown pass.
Collins is in there getting the nod now.
$7 million bonus. I guess you got to put it to work.
Yeah, if I gave him $7 million, he'd have to go to work.
It was interesting. Coughlin yesterday, Beasley, talking about he thought the Steelers were going to try to pound the ball at him, but he said we're not easy to run on. And they haven't been. The Steelers have gotten some running gains from Pegram. Here's an out pattern now as the Jaguars go on offense. And Ron Kirkland comes up to make the tackle.
You will notice, Don, that the Jaguars are throwing very short passes, three-step drops. They know that they don't have a lot of time. So watch this. 1, 2, 3, and the ball is gone. And you saw that Kevin Green is there slapping Brunell every time he lets the ball go. Look at the pressure coming from the top. Green is so close. But Brunell and the coaches are smart enough to call quick plays.
They have to. The Steeler outside rush is so fast. Here it comes. Handoff goes, and James Stewart working hard on second down and does well to get about 2 yards out to the 40-yard line with Chad Brown, who's the AFC sack leader and inside linebacker from Colorado, 94. Makes the stop.
It's getting ugly. It's getting ugly over there. I saw one of the Steelers kick at somebody.
Let's watch Tony Baselli, the standout rookie tackle against Green.
Real challenge. And look how he
actually
just
on the left side.
DeMarco on a running play this time, smothering Kevin Green. DeMarco won't have trouble pushing anybody out of the way on the run. Got a bright future. They've got to get him to take some ballet or some karate, get his feet working.
He'd have to be faster to hold off these outside backers, 2 all-pro players for Pittsburgh. Coughlin says this is the best linebacking core in the NFL, and that is an on-target throw. Mark Brunell to Pete Mitchell, who goes low to the ground, makes the grab, and it's a first down for Jacksonville.
Well, this is like a surgical incision here. Nice time and right on the money. Well covered, but Mitchell allowed to go down low and away from the defender because of the accuracy of the throw.
Brunell now 7 for 13 throwing the ball for 97 yards and a touchdown. Jacksonville leading by the surprise, the biggest of the season so far, 14-0. Good D by the Steelers. Carnell Lake, the strong safety, came out and separated the ball from tight end Rich Griffin.
You will hear Carnell Lake's name all the time. He's a leader on the defense, an all-pro. Brunell this time has no pressure. Well, yes, he does, too. He gets away very quickly.
Defense has 2 concerns with Brunell. He can get it away quickly, and he can get away quickly.
Now, that time coming in on him was Levon Kirkland.
He's a very quick runner. If there's a gap, he'll shoot into it. Comes into the game, does Brunell as the leading rusher for the Jaguars, almost 8 yards a carry. Now he stands in, delivers the ball downfield, and it's almost picked off. Coaches around the league, Beasley, talk about the Steelers being one of the best teams, maybe the best, at grabbing tip balls. When it's in the air, they're pretty good at intercepting, and they work on it all the time.
Yes, they do. It's a classic defensive back drill. You throw the ball to one DB, he bats it up in the air, the other one goes after it. They had a touchdown from a tip ball last week by Willie Williams. Caught a nice tip, took it in.
Brunell is not big, 6 feet, 215 pounds. He needs whatever bulk he has to withstand the hits he's taking. This is 3rd and 10. Look at him throwing on the run. Wow, did he get it? Official says no, it came in on the hop. Pete Mitchell was the man, but it came in low. Myron Bell, number 40, covering for the Steelers. Almost a first down throw.
Mark has to buy time for himself. He thought he had this one. Look at him.
It's remarkable time after time when you're sure they've got him and they're going to sack him for a loss. He eludes it and breaks a run. Now with 4th down coming up, Brian Barker must punt the ball for the Jaguars. There's Andre Hastings to run it back. End over and punt. It's short. Hastings comes up on it, takes a Jacksonville roll inside the 15. And is finally down at about the 12. So again, the Steelers get the ball, but with the long field to go and a hole to dig out of, they're down 14-0 as they've come in as a 2-touchdown favorite. Right now have a major problem. There was good news and bad news for Bill Cowher. Certainly the Cleveland loss on Monday night that helped the Steelers gain a share of first place was good news. But then following this incident, when he took some photos of an alignment and shoved them down the front of referee Gordon McCarter's shirt. This was all about that 12 men on the field call when there was really only 11, and the Vikings got a chance at another field goal, which they made. Well, the league came down hard on Coach Cowher. Here's the incident that he wanted McCarter to be sure and look at it at halftime. He didn't want to see it, so he gave him a souvenir. What's a picture worth $7,500 to the coach? But McCarter was fined a game's check, and so was the line judge Ben Montgomery. As Bill said, it was a debacle. Here's a swing pass, nicely done by O'Donnell to Steve Avery, and he takes it across the 15-yard line.
You know, Don, a local radio station in Pittsburgh got involved with that fine situation and raised $500, and Cowher gave it to charity. Took the money and gave it to charity and paid his own fine. So just a good guy, classic good guy. Very emotional.
He's going to be around a long time.
Better believe he will.
His players really like playing for him. And he's delivered the goods, a playoff team every year. They'll be back in this game. This is going to be close at the end. They're down 14-0 now. Eric Pegram runs the ball and gets to the 19-yard line. There's some stuff going on between the Vikings and the Oilers. For more on that, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg?
All right, Don, the Oilers had an interception return for a touchdown called back because of a penalty. 2 plays later, Warren Moon to Chris Carter. Second touchdown of the day for Carter, 17 yards, 17-6. Vikings lead Houston, Don.
Thanks, Greg. Warren Moon saying during the week he's validated his claim that the Oilers made a big mistake trading him. And they did. They're not anything like they were when he was there. 3rd and 2. Here's a shuffle pass. It goes to Fred McAfee. He didn't. I don't know. The spot's going to be everything. Now the linesman comes in. And it looks like they might get a favorable spot. It was a 3rd and 2 play. Kelvin Pritchett, a top defensive lineman who came in the expansion draft from Detroit. There's the man who made the stop as the yard markers now come out. Minnesota leading Houston 17-6. Tampa Bay is leading the Cincinnati Bengals 10-3. He got there. So there's never been much good news for Coach Cowher and offensive coordinator Ron Earhart. The Jacksonville Jaguars, Beasley, with 10 first downs so far. Not many for the Steelers.
Really outplaying the Steelers. The Steelers with 4 first downs in this game. That lets you know that the offense is going nowhere.
They've yet to have good field position in the game, have the Steelers. Jacksonville with a 14-0 lead. O'Donnell lofts it long. Wide open is Yancey Thigpen in a race. He's caught and taken down by Darren Carrington. But the Steelers finally hit a big play. Somebody didn't cover the Steelers' most productive receiver, Yancey Thigpen, a 41-yard gain.
Here's a great look at it working against Vinnie Clark. Vinnie Clark allows him to go by because Vinnie has the short zone. The safety, Harry Colin, is supposed to come over the top. And the safety, he gets help from a safety very, very late.
O'Donnell now 7 of 12 throwing the ball for 81 yards.
There's Darren Carrington, the safety, coming in late. He should have been there a lot sooner than that.
O'Donnell throws up the middle, makes a connection, goes to his tight end, John Hayes. He's inside the 30 as the Steeler offense now getting synced together and productive as they advance the ball down to the 29-yard line.
O'Donnell looking more and more comfortable. And you have to remember, this is a guy who's had a month off. So he's coming back to work and trying to run Earhart's offense. A little bit rusty, but he's starting to heat up.
But Earhart's got his cell phone in there. Here's a long ball downfield. Johnson goes for it and makes the play. He was bumped. He was fouled. He caught it anyway. And the Steelers have their biggest play of the day.
No, wait a minute.
Are they going to rule him out of bounds?
They ruled him out of bounds here.
Wow. He was bumped, and then he caught it.
I thought that was a great throw over the shoulder, over the right shoulder of the receiver, the one spot that the defensive back couldn't touch. Watch Vinnie Clark here.
He really
Vinnie's in good position, but watch the quality of the throw. Right there.
Wow, that's a tough call.
That's a tough one. Okay, he's got it one. Got one foot in.
I tell you. Just on the replay, it looked like the official had it there, had it right.
That was Charlie Johnson's fault. You got to get that other foot in on a play like that.
But O'Donnell comes right back with a 3rd and 5 throw to Andre Hastings, slanting over the middle. He's taken down by Dave Thomas, but it's a first down for the Steelers.
No, I can't get over that throw.
Jets hanging tough with the Bills. Look at Dallas.
This Emmitt Smith is the score. This Troy Aikman is playing in that game today, even with the bad calf muscle.
He was announced on Friday as ready to go.
It's unbelievable.
First down Steelers. They're down 14-0. O'Donnell stands in. He's got an open man in Avery as fullback, and he crashes inside the 9-yard line. And let's see, were they ruling Avery out? They do. Avery thought he was in the end zone. He was in the end zone, but he's gone out of bounds first.
Now I can't tell. I don't know what.
Somebody's got to put their arms up when it's a touchdown. Apparently they're not ruling him out of bounds. Nobody has signaled a touchdown.
So it is a touchdown.
An official stood on the sideline like he'd gone out of bounds. No official signaled touchdown. Avery hopping along.
He's in bounds all the way. What balance?
It's a Steeler touchdown. We try to bring it to you as soon as we're told. There is yet to be a touchdown signal that I've seen, but the ball is going to be placed for an extra point try, and Norm Johnson, who's made 11 of 11 this year, drives it up and through. So as advertised, the Steelers will be back in it, and they are already, as you are watching the NFL on NBC, and Pittsburgh will kick off when we come back to Jacksonville. Steve Avery, a guy who keeps trying harder, cut 7 times, gets in the end zone as he tight ropes the sideline. They looked like they ruled him out of bounds, but then he was in the end zone, and finally a touchdown for the Steelers on this throw from O'Donnell to Avery.
The balance for a big man here is incredible. See him hopping on one leg, working his way in, 6'2", 233. Very talented young man, plays 4 instruments and shares his talent. He taught his teammate Justin Strelzik how to play the guitar. Now, can you imagine a little tiny guitar in that man's hand?
But liable to break it.
But Avery needs to be able to play instruments. I mean, he's been through a lot. Cut 7 times in the NFL. He needs to be able to write some songs and kind of be introspective. And
Think about that.
Jacksonville will look to run out the clock now with 2 minutes to play in the half, trying to hold to a 7-point lead. Willie Jackson runs it back. Steelers cover well on special teams. The lead tackler coming down for Pittsburgh was Jerry Olszewski, who himself, number 55, is a great comeback story. Total knee reconstruction back in '93, and back in one of the best special teams players again.
It is a remarkable story. I mean, they had his knee was so bad that they had to take ligaments from a cadaver to rebuild the leg. That's an eerie thought.
Yes, it is.
That leg started moving by itself later.
Makes Halloween special to him. Here's Mark Brunell looking for something. On first down, he throws, makes a connection to Willie Jackson. He dives ahead and out to the 36-yard line. If there's been any criticism of the Jaguars, it has been that their offense was too conservative, but not today. Now the Bears have taken a 14-10 lead on Carolina. Kramer to Jennings.
This Willie Jackson is a special athlete. He's getting his opportunity because Ernest Gibbons is hurt, but Ernest wasn't getting this type of production. We could see a little competition brewing here for the starting nine.
Another throw and a catch by Brunell as he gets it to Pete Mitchell. And the clock continues to run with 1:10 left to play. So the Jaguars, who came in rated number 30 and last on offense, coming out firing in a 2-minute drill. Clock is inside a minute to play now. Jacksonville leads the Steelers 14-7. Brunell stands in. Fires on the run. He's got an open man. A beautifully received ball by Willie Jackson.
You must hold your coverage when you're facing a quarterback like Mark Brunell.
This is impressive.
This is very impressive. When he starts running, watch Deion Figures relax just a little bit. See him kind of relax. Now he's looking back. He realizes that the ball is coming, and 24 yards later, it's a little late.
Sold out Jacksonville Stadium. With a lot to cheer about today. The first win coming on the road at Houston last week. Now the Jaguars with a 7-0 lead late in the half. Challenging, and Brunell comes in high to Willie Jackson. Jackson is a former Dallas Cowboy. They really went to the expansion draft and went to quality. They went to the winning teams to get their players. Jackson said every Sunday he'd have to wait till the last minute to find out if he was inactive with Dallas.
Yeah, this ball just got away. Now, this guy has one of the best vertical jumps in the league, over 40 inches, about 36 3/4 inches. His vertical leap. 40 inches, you can fly. 36 3/4.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, 40, you're up around Michael Jordan, and a young Michael Jordan.
Shy Maston runs the ball, and he gets down to the 31-yard line. From there would be about a 48-yard field goal, as the clock is now stopped with 39 seconds to play. Greg Lloyd was on the tackle, so the Jaguars easing themselves into possible long field goal range before the half. Stay with us at halftime for the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. Greg Gumbel, Mike Ditka, and Joe Montana will have all the scores and highlights from around the league. Plus a look at Steve Empman of the Miami Dolphins, a comeback story from 2 major knee injuries. The former #1 pick in the draft of Indianapolis. That's all coming your way at halftime. And what you're watching here is a major story in the NFL today, as the Jaguars lead the Steelers. Brunell eludes the blitz. Now they get him, and he falls on the ball at the 35-yard line. So the line of scrimmage plus 17 yards is the field goal distance. This would be a 52-yarder. And the clock is again stopped with 32 seconds to play in the half.
Number 40, Myron Bell on the blitz, right up the middle, flashing by Brunell. He drops the ball and is lucky enough to fall back on it, but that was the Steelers blitzed 2 additional defenders that time, so that was not an all-out blitz, but it's about as close to that as you can get.
Brings up 4th down, so Mike Hollis, the rookie place kicker, is coming on out.
Well, if you look at the flags,
The kick is, there's not a lot of wind up there, but at the other end of the field, you can see the flags, different NFL flags. They're blowing into Hollis's face, so the kick will be into the wind, making it a long shot.
Mike Hollis, a 52-yard field goal.
52 officially, but it's probably about, if you're playing golf, you'd call this a 58.
Yeah. More like a 53. Well, with the wind, you'd be playing an extra couple clubs, right?
Yeah, you play an extra club on this.
Man, you put a charge into that. He hit it.
That's impressive.
The rookie, Mike Hollis, drives through a 53-yard field goal with 27 seconds left before halftime. And Coach Coughlin and his Jaguars extend their lead to 17-7. The expansion team that nobody wants to play, and with good reason.
Even Coughlin shakes his head at that one. Into the wind, that's about a 55-yarder if you take into account the wind. He knew it time he touched it.
Coughlin had some veteran kickers in, but he went with the rookie, and he's really delivered. Mike Hollis, a first-year player from Idaho.
A kick like that against the Pittsburgh Steelers would do a lot for a first-year kicker's confidence.
This is a loud, happy building right now. Jacksonville Municipal Stadium. 7 plays, 39 yards, and then the long field goal. Ernie Mills is back deep as the ball is kicked high, a spinning kick. Mills comes up on it. He loses the ball. It's on the field. He picks it up, and he's swept under. Oh, you talk about a pumped group of guys, Beasley. This is as high as a team can get, Jacksonville.
And they play excellent special teams, Don, and the reason is very simple. Most of these guys were 20 of the players that put in a lot of time for Jacksonville were in the expansion draft. And these guys were primarily special teams players on their teams. So these guys are very good special teams players. That's why you see the coverage is excellent for both expansion teams.
Okay, that's when you talk about to the opposing players. They'll all point out Jacksonville's an expansion team, but these players, most of them are 4- and 5-year veterans, as you point out. Many very good special teams players. Jaguars only had 20 points in the first half all season prior to today. They put 17 on the board today, and the Steelers are stunned as they go to the locker room. And a standing ovation for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They leave the field with a huge surprise on the scoreboard, a 17-7 lead over Pittsburgh.
Don, I promise you that the leaders on this football team, the Greg Lloyds and DeMonte Dawsons, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near them.
So, from Jacksonville, this is Don Criqui with Beasley, Reese, sending to New York and to Greg Gumbel.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. When it's gotta be great and it's gotta be now, it's gotta be Domino's.
Those of you who have been watching the Steelers and the Jaguars, welcome back to our studios in New York. Along with Mike Ditka and Joe Montana, I'm Greg Gumbel. Here's the rundown on scores and highlights as they stand now. First of all, at Rich Stadium in Buffalo, the Bills leading the New York Jets by a score of 6-3. Jim Kelly and the Bills have won 3 in a row. Here's where Boomer Esiason got hurt in the second quarter. Under heavy pressure, Bruce Smith with a free trip in. He just levels Esiason, who remained down and on the field for about 5 or 6 minutes. Bruce Smith concerned. Esiason was helped off. He suffered a concussion. His return today is doubtful. The Jets had a 3rd and 1 from the Bills 4. Adrian Morrell loses 6 yards. The Jets had to settle for a field goal. They are still the NFL's only team without a rushing touchdown this year. Take a look at those numbers. Joe Montana, what do those numbers tell you?
Well, it tells me that they should be running the ball a little bit more. I mean, you find one thing that is certain, that Thomas likes this offense. They're running the ball. They get down there. They're still having problems in the red zone, getting the ball in the end zone. And if they don't start picking that up, they're going to have trouble all year.
Good first half for Thurman Thomas, but it's only a 6-3 Buffalo lead. In Dallas, the Cowboys with Troy Aikman playing quarterback, leading Green Bay at halftime 17-3. Aikman has thrown a 10-yard touchdown pass to Jay Novacek. In Minnesota, the Oilers and the Vikings late in the first half. The Vikings lead it by a score of 17-6. Warren Moon up against his former team for the first time, and a little wrinkle in Houston's offense. Chris Chandler slips, gets back up, hits Frank Wycheck for the first down. Houston ran off 10 minutes on their opening drive, settled for a field goal. It was 6-3 Oilers in the second. Moon over the middle into the outstretched arms of Chris Carter for a Vikings first down. Nice catch there. And Moon again to his favorite target. Carter in the end zone, 4-yard TD. Vikings led 10-6. It is 17-6 now at halftime. The Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars, the game that you are watching, it's a 10-point Jacksonville lead at the break. Mike, Don Criqui was right. The Jaguars, the expansion team, no one wants to play.
Well, right now, I tell you what they're doing. They're taking it to them physically. They're playing very physical football on defense. Offensively, they got Burnell, who's the best guy to run their offense, and they're running the ball at Pittsburgh. They just don't look like they're backing down from anybody. You got to like that. I mean, Tom Coughlin's got them playing tough football.
53-yard field goal by Mike Hollis, 17-7 Jaguars. In Tampa, the Bucks and the Cincinnati Bengals. Tampa Bay has a 10-6 lead in the second quarter. First regular season meeting for Bucks coach Sam Wyche against his former team. Trent Dilfer starting at quarterback. He was knocked out of last week's game with a concussion. He hits Alvin Harper for a 49-yard gain here to the Bengal 19-yard line. And with the score tied at 3, Eric Rett caps a 49-yard drive with a 2-yard touchdown run, his 5th rushing TD of the season. It is a 10-6 Tampa Bay lead as they approach halftime in Tampa Stadium. In Soldier Field in Chicago, the Bears and the Carolina Panthers at halftime. It's the Bears by 1. And in Philadelphia, the Eagles and the Redskins, 17-17 tie late in the second quarter. When we come back, we'll hear from Steve Entman, the one-time Colt and current Dolphin, who goes against his former team today. We'll get to that right after this from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. When it's gotta be great and it's gotta be now, it's gotta be Domino's.
Welcome back, everyone. The doubleheader game most of you will see at 4 o'clock Eastern Time is Indianapolis at Miami. One of the interesting stories in that game is Steve Entman, the former Colt defensive tackle, who was the #1 pick in the '92 draft. Entman endured a series of devastating injuries before being waived by the Colts and picked up by the Dolphins this past summer. Marianne Grabovoy has Steve Entman's story of anguish.
This, an injury? You know, I'm hurt and I'm getting helped off the field, and this was the first time I'd ever in my life dealt with anything, any kind of, you know, injury where I had to be helped off the field, or, you know, and it was a shock to me.
But torn ligaments happen a lot. Surgery, rehab, and Entman was back on the field for his second season. October '93, Colts versus Cowboys. This time it was the right knee, not one, but 2 torn ligaments and a blown out tendon. Nothing ordinary this time. This was a career ender.
That one was demoralizing, I guess. It was terrible. I mean, my life was over. I didn't know if I was going to wake up the next morning. I mean, everything I ever wanted to do was done. I mean, it was an injury that was career-ending. Here's 2 freak injuries, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, maybe I'm not quite what I thought I was. You know, I always felt invincible and felt like never could get hurt.
Your knee was shattered. Did you feel that your life was shattered too?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, it was sad to say, but that's kind of what I'd lived for, was football at that point in my life, and that's all I wanted to do.
With the odds stacked dramatically against him, 2 surgeries that included a cadaver ligament, Entman made it back the next season. Nothing short of miraculous, he lined up to play against Seattle, his own hometown team.
When I came back from my second knee, you know, probably the happiest moment of my life. You know, it was kind of picture perfect. Went right and made a play, and, you know, it was real exciting for me.
In that game, he suffered a herniated disc in his neck. 3 games later, the pain would force him out for the rest of the season. In 3 years with the Colts, he would play in only 18 of 48 games.
The Colts and Steve and his representatives were not able to get together on a restructured contract, so as of now, Steve...
Change sometimes to look in the mirror and see yourself in a Dolphins uniform?
It's a shocker. You know, I still can't get used to it. It's a thing where I just look in the mirror and double take once in a while.
But what's it feel like to be playing a backup role here with the Dolphins?
If I said I enjoyed it, I'd be lying. I hate it, you know, but that's the way it is, you know. I'm, you know, not terribly disappointed in it. Well, okay, I'm terribly disappointed, but that's part of it, you know. I'm never going to cause any conflict about it.
Was there a time where you thought you're never going to get out of this black hole?
Yeah, today. I still feel like I'm in it.
Why?
Things aren't, you know, like they used to be for me. You know, they're not as easy as they used to be.
You're searching.
Definitely.
And not sure when the adversity is going to end.
That's pretty close.
Do you sometimes feel like you're going to fall apart?
Definitely at times, but I keep looking. You try to just look ahead and not look behind. My whole career to this point has just been, you know, basically an emotional roller coaster. Just top of the world, back to the bottom of the world. Kind of just been this emotional thing, you know, up and down, and I'm just wondering when it's going to stop.
Even out.
Even out and just be normal.
Do you know what normal is anymore?
I don't think I've ever known what normal is, but I definitely don't know what normal is right now.
Steve Entman still looking to get some more playing time, but Mike, there has to be a real shot of adrenaline when you get a second chance or even a third chance or fourth in his case.
Well, I think, Greg, the thing he has to realize, this guy is not going to ever be the football player that people thought he was going to be. I mean, really, he was a great player coming out of the University of Washington, but the injuries have set him back tremendously. I think he's fortunate to be in the position he's in. He's with a great football team with a chance to get that Super Bowl ring. That's what counts.
Joe Montana, no stranger to injury during your career. Is there a sudden reality all of a sudden when you get hurt and, you know, maybe you thought you were invincible?
Well, there definitely is, because the thing about him is, as Mike alluded to, he was everything coming out of school, and there was a lot of expectations of him. And here he is, now all of a sudden he's a backup. And mentally, that's very tough on a guy of his caliber, to sit there and have to pat everybody on the back when he's used to being the guy out there performing. So that's the biggest part of adjustment for him, is going to be mentally.
All right, Joe. Many of you will see Steve Entman go up against his former team in our doubleheader game, Indianapolis at Miami. Some of you will see Cleveland at Detroit. Still others will get the Seahawks and the Raiders. And now our NFL on NBC halftime activities continue.
Who'd have thunk at halftime? Expansion Jacksonville up on the Steelers 17-7. Kevin Gilbride, the offensive coordinator for Houston last year, and then he was fired and came to Jacksonville this year when they got the first win at Houston last week, said, we talked all the time, Beasley, about we can win, we can do this,
right.
But way down, we didn't believe it. Then we won. Now they believe it, and they've got the Steelers down.
And that's exactly what Kevin told us in the meeting. He talked more about that. This team believes that they can beat a Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're out there going out about doing it, going about the business of doing it.
It'll be interesting to see what the strategy changes are for the Steelers at halftime. Obviously, they're going to have to start throwing the ball deep more. As we look at the Coors Light halftime statistics, Jacksonville with a decided edge in first downs, but it was that early drive that really set the tone of this game when Jacksonville went down the field. Brunell going 3 for 3 passing the ball for 69 yards, his third throw for a touchdown. So the young man from Washington who came off the bench last week at the Astrodome lead the win over the Oilers, playing even better today. You see the comparative numbers. One turnover in the game, and it was big. Shai Maston recovered a fumbled punt. Hastings lost the ball, and soon after the Jaguars had their second touchdown. Here come the Steelers now as they come down the field. Ernie Mills breaks it across the 30 and the 40. And Mills works his way all the way down to the 47-yard line of the Jaguars. So the Steelers, obviously the recipients of some heavy words at halftime from Coach Cowher, come out flying a 51-yard return.
That's exactly what Pittsburgh needed to get the momentum changed and to quiet the crowd and to change the mood here. You are looking at perfection when it comes to decision-making while running the football. He couldn't get another inch out of the play. He milked it for all it had. And that's exactly what Coach Cowher was looking for. And I'm telling you, I wouldn't have wanted to be in that locker room at the halftime. I bet stuff was spitting out of Coach's mouth, and Lloyd was threatening people with karate, and DeMonte was grabbing folks.
Yeah, could have gotten neat in there. O'Donnell, he's looking deep early. Lofts the ball downfield. Look at Charles Johnson diving at the ball and making the play for the Steelers. Down at the 26-yard line of Jacksonville.
Did you see the throw? He put it right there. The receiver didn't have to slow down. Look at O'Donnell. Play fake. Look how smooth and relaxed he let. Look, it's like a dart. The receiver doesn't have to adjust at any, doesn't have to slow down, doesn't have to speed up, doesn't have to come closer, back up further. The ball is right there.
For a 23-yard gain, so the Steelers coming out fast here in the third quarter. Handoff. Pegram, who hadn't gotten the ball late in the second quarter very much, ran a lot early in the game, runs very well behind that vaunted Steeler trap blocking. Straight ahead for a gain of 8.
But the Steeler offense has always been one of my favorites. You see the guys pulling, trying to get the correct ankles. Pegram very elusive. He brings Darren Carrington, number 29, to his knees on the fake there. Exciting little run.
He's putting up some numbers too. 9 carries now for Pegram for 48 yards. First down, he gets it. Jaguars get him. Throwing for a loss. A tremendous defensive play. Working hard to get him. Joel Smengi, number 99, was the man who made the stop in the backfield.
Pegram will do anything with the football. He'll reverse field. He'll do anything. Watch Smengi, 99 here. Okay, misses him. He's on the ground, but does he stay on the ground? No, he does not. He jumps up and grabs him by the foot. That's a big man with a lot of hustle.
And that brings up third down and 8 for the Steelers. Opening drive of the third quarter. Pittsburgh down by 10 points. Home run ball to the end zone. Man is open and it's broken up. Yancey Thigpen had the ball on his numbers, but coming up to make the play was Roderick Green, number 26. Who split the ball from the receiver, and the Steelers are denied a touchdown, and they send out their field goal kicker.
Don, that is so difficult because the defensive back has his back to the receiver in this play. He has to turn around, contort, distort his body to find the football and then knock it away. That's a play to be proud of.
Norm Johnson's kicked well, 9 of 12. This will be a 41-yarder. Ron Starr-Coles, the kick is on the way, and Norm Johnson, a 2-time Pro Bowl player, drives it through. And the Steelers get points off the opening drive of the second half. And they now trail Jacksonville 17-10. Be back as the NFL on NBC continues.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By New York Life, the company you keep. And by Pennzoil, the motor oil that works like liquid ball bearings.
Don Criqui with Beasley Reese back at Jacksonville, Florida. Norm Johnson of the Steelers just hit a long field goal to give Pittsburgh points off its opening drive of the third quarter. But the Jaguars, a 2-touchdown underdog coming in, still lead the game 17-10. Let's see how they respond now.
Well, Pittsburgh needed 10 points, 3 and a touchdown. Doesn't matter what order you get it in, so they are very happy to come away with that field goal.
Wind is really picking up. It's a swirling wind here in North Florida. Temperature in the 80s. There was heavy rain last night, a 20% chance of rain today. When it rains, it can come down hard. You heard an earlier report on the NFL on NBC, Jim Gray talking about the possibility of 5 inches of rain in South Florida, where the Dolphins play the Colts later today.
The rule in the NFL, Don, is that you've got 40 seconds to kick the ball. If it's blown off twice, someone has to hold it. Darren Perry will hold.
And he does. The ball is hit well downfield. Jimmy Smith elects not to bring it out of the end zone. Jaguars will take the touchback. They'll go from their 20-yard line to go on offense, first down and 10. As we check the 10-minute ticker, Buffalo now extending its lead as Thurman Thomas is running through the Jets, over 100 yards rushing and the first touchdown of the day.
They're still great.
Yeah. They can still deliver, those old guys. They're using some new defenders. Minnesota on Houston. Boy, Warren Moon wants that one.
Well, here's a good football game. Tampa Bay and Cincinnati. San
twice going against his own
That's
team.
right. Carolina looking for its first win, hanging tough at Soldier Field against the Bears.
Philadelphia. Wow.
They're getting better. On first down, Bruner. They're now running it out, and he rolls out across the 20, and he's not done till he gets to the 30-yard line. The man is elusive. Levon Kirkland, number 99 of the Steelers, a linebacker from Clemson, finally ran him out along with Lloyd.
And Don, like I said earlier, don't look for the slide. This guy is not. This guy's trying to run a touchdown. He's not trying to get a first down and then slide feet first like the other quarterbacks. Even watch him here at the end, still trying to stay in bounds.
Only one turnover so far in the game. That was committed by Andre Hastings of the Steelers on a punt return. As the Steelers' turnover count is now at 19 for this season. They had 17 all of last year. And that turnover was subsequently turned into a touchdown by Jacksonville. Jacksonville has led 7-0, 14-0. 14-7. They led at the half 17-7, and now the Steelers with the third quarter field goal down by 7. It's going to go down to the final gun. The Steelers will be right back in there knocking on the door. Jacksonville has to keep mounting offense to hold them at bay. Handoff of the pitch back. James Stewart doesn't get much as the nose tackle. Joel Steed of Pittsburgh sheds the block, makes a head-on hit.
Mark Brunell came in this game as the leading rusher on the football team. 20 carries for 153 yards, and we've seen brilliant decisions by a young quarterback. He has run the ball when he should run it, and he has run and then found open receivers when it's been available.
He's made some terrific throws, absolutely. The MVP of the 1991 Rose Bowl when he led Washington to victory. And straight ahead run by James Stewart. Steelers come hitting Carnell Lake, the strong safety. A head-on strike. That'll bring up third down after a gain of 4. It'll be about 3rd and 7. It was a 2nd and 11 play. Kevin Gilbride, the architect of the Oilers run and shoot in their salad days when they went to the playoffs 7 straight years, had the #1 offense 3 of those years in the NFL. And he was fired last season after earlier the Oilers had not allowed him to be interviewed for a head coaching job at South Carolina. Very lucrative job, and soon after they fired him as coach. But now he's back plying his trade with the young Jaguars as Brunell throws and finds an open man. It's Cedric Tillman, who led off the scoring today with a touchdown reception. He's ahead for first down.
The Steelers were in the defense that they would like to be in for this particular play. See number 40, Myron Bell moved to the center of the football field. They had people right where they should be, but Brunell finding the receiver open right just short, just below that spot. So Tillman with another good catch.
And a good second look. Our producer today for NBC Sports is Kevin Smolin. Our director, Dick Klein. And we're coming to you from sold-out Jacksonville Municipal Stadium, one of the great stadiums in football. Used to be the Gator Bowl. They completely redid it. And there isn't a better facility anywhere. The playing field is magnificent. The stands. They do it all right here getting this team underway.
Don, this is a beautiful facility. Like you say, I never played on a finer piece of grass. I mean, I walked around on this thing, and it is prescription. It is gorgeous.
Talking to Dan Rooney of the Steelers, the possibility of the city of Pittsburgh would one day refurbish the Three Rivers Stadium. Certainly the Steelers are deserving of it. But Rooney, the most respected owner maybe in any sport, because his decisions are all based on what's best for the league, is not campaigning for city money. Willie Jackson gets the reception and gets down inside the 40-yard line down to the 36.
But Don, this is the 3rd time that Willie Jackson has caught a pass and made the first guy miss. I mean, he is showing some really big play potential here. Now you see the blocking is very good. Brunell on a quick throw. Look at the first man misses. You know, that's an extra 5 yards. I mean, this guy is exhibiting a lot of potential.
He is. Art throwing left-hander, throwing strikes. Jacksonville looking to answer the Steelers scoring drive, and they go to the run, and a terrific defensive play by Kevin Green. Three-time All-Pro from Auburn. The locks are getting longer, but the speed is not diminishing. Maybe he'd be like Samson. You cut his hair and he's nothing.
Well, let me tell you something. You get the scissors. I'm not getting the scissors.
No. He says he won't cut it till they win the Super Bowl.
Now, if Tony Boselli or Brian DeMarco have any nerve, they'll grab him by that hair and sling him down.
We've not seen that yet, though.
We've not seen that. And I doubt that we will.
Second down and 10 arises for the Jaguars. They pick up the blitz nicely. Brunell gets it away somehow to Willie Jackson on maybe the play of the game for Jacksonville. Brunell in the face of an all-out blitz. They were going to level him, and they did. A split second before, though, the hit came. He threw a perfect strike for 18 yards and a first down. What a play by Brunell.
Just the patience, because he had to wait a while, and then once again, Jackson makes the first defender miss. Watch the pressure at the end of this play. Would you have the nerve to stand in there and wait for your receiver that long?
You're asking me?
Oh.
I'd be out of here. I tell you, that took guts and accuracy. And grace under pressure. He's been demonstrating that all day. Here's the handoff, and running hard with the ball down to the 16-yard line. Comes James Stewart, tackled by the free safety, Darren Perry.
You know, Don, the first step in realizing that you have a problem in life is, to say it. The Steelers are in denial right now, man. They had better wake up, because this team is pushing them up and down the field. This defense is in denial.
Well,
somebody's got to shake somebody by the face mask and say, hey.
They need to hunt turnovers, do the Steelers. Jacksonville protecting the ball very well. As the Emperor, Chuck Noll, was with us in the first half, the great Steeler coach who led them to 4 Super Bowls, said these are the toughest games when you're supposed to win. And Brunell sees nobody open. The rush is coming. He unloads it to nowhere. The right thing to do.
How smart is that? You see a lot of young quarterbacks still try to stick it in there, or they hold the ball until they are sacked.
There's Dick LeBeau, the former All-Pro defensive back with the Lions, now the defensive coordinator for the Steelers. Throwing in combinations. He's got a lot of good people to send in there. But Jacksonville very well prepared on both sides of the ball. Their defensive coordinator, Jacksonville's, is another former Lion defensive back, Dick Geron. Done an excellent job with his team. It grades out in the top half of the league on defense. Screenplay. Steelers are there. Nothing happening for James Stewart on third down. He's shut down by Brinston Buckner. But it puts the Jaguars in very good field goal range. So Coach Coughlin looks at the option, sends out his kicking team, and the young guy who boomed a 52-yarder, Mike Hollis, is back on the field.
Don, the Jacksonville possession count has been very impressive. I mean, if they make this field goal, it'll be touchdown, punt, punt, touchdown, punt, punt, field goal. If they make this one, add another field goal. You'll win every game you play if you can keep that up.
The field goal is kicked up and good by Mike Hollis. He delivers again with 6:03 to go in the third quarter. Jacksonville again extends to a 10-point lead, and the Jaguars kick off as the NFL on NBC continues. The St. Johns River flowing by Jacksonville, Florida, and where it's at today is Jacksonville Municipal Stadium. Really rolling and rocking as the Jaguars again up by a 10-point margin over the favorite Steelers. Kick. Ernie Mills does nicely to take it on the run and gets out to the 31-yard line. And that's where Pittsburgh goes back on offense, first down and 10. Mike Dumas came down to make the tackle, a 14-yard return.
Returns the kick.
So let's see what Neil O'Donnell and the Steelers on offense have coming up.
The 28-yard line. Correction, the 33-yard line.
Coming up next on most of these NBC stations, it's game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Most of you will head to the Silverdome as Barry Sanders and the Lions go against the tough defense of the Cleveland Browns. Some of you will see the NFL's only undefeated team, the Dolphins, go against Marshall Faulk and the Colts. Others will see an AFC West showdown as Seattle visits Oakland. Check your local listings for the game in your area. A doubleheader day on NBC Sports. Right now, the surprise of this day in the NFL is the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Steelers trying to come back, and a great throw by Neil O'Donnell right on the numbers of Yancey Thigpen, resulting in a gain of 25 yards all the way down to the 45-yard line of Jacksonville. Beasley?
That's another excellent throw by Neil O'Donnell. It's a very simple play. The receiver comes down, and Yancey breaks slightly into the seam in between the safety and the corner. Easy throw, easy catch.
O'Donnell more and more in rhythm throwing the ball.
Oh, he looks good.
His return after fracturing his throwing hand in the opening win over the Lions. Another look, another sharp throw. Right on target. This is Thigpen on the run. He's inside the 10 and down to the 5-yard line. So the Steelers looking to get it back quickly, and they do with another big throw. They're giving O'Donnell time, and he's firing it in laser sharp. 38-yard gain.
Well, you won't find a better look at it than this. He's allowed to go inside because it's a zone. The cornerback just passes him off to the safeties. He catches the ball in the pocket, and it's a foot race and a fight with Carrington and Colin.
Yancey Thigpen, the leading receiver for the Steelers.
O'Donnell's got all the time in the world and puts the ball on the money.
Thigpen with 3 catches for 106 yards. He has 30 catches for the year. On the run, going hard is Eric Hegrum, and he's cut down at about the 3-yard line on a 1st and goal try. Harry Colin, the strong safety, made the stop for the Jaguars.
Well, you have to respect Hegrum. That offensive line did a good job on the right side that time. Leon Searcy, Justin Strelzik.
Houston inching closer at Minnesota.
Watch these linemen here. Strelzik, 73, pulling around. Good lead block from Avery.
And Oliver Gibson comes in, Beasley, the 285-pound defensive lineman from Notre Dame, a rookie.
Oh, man.
Who is a very athletic player. He played varsity basketball one year at Notre Dame. And he is a blocker, and that's what's coming up. Power run, it would indicate. 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line.
Don, that should be a weight limit.
like Little League football?
Like Little League football.
Over 150, you can't carry the ball.
That's right. You can't block from the backfield.
Guy that started next to Gibson on the defensive line for Notre Dame, Jim Flanagan, has been doing it for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, but it goes back farther than that, guys.
Oh, to the great one.
Shall we cheat the refrigerator?
The refrigerator not only would block it in, he'd run it in.
He'd run it in. I had to face those. I had to run into the refrigerator on the goal line a few times. It wasn't pretty.
Oh, you were in there against that?
Ooh. I was in there and then immediately ejected out of there.
All I can tell you, BC, is get low. You got to get low, and that's coming at you.
He hit me so hard, my grandfather called me the next day.
Brother had a headache.
My sister had a migraine.
There is Gibson, who was the high school defensive player of the year in USA Today. Bam Morris is in. Bam gets it. But the Jaguars get him. Now we come to 3rd down. The ball was advanced down close to the 1-yard line. 3rd and goal from the 1. Ryan Schwartz was the tackler, a rookie number 58.
Now watch Gibson gets knocked out of here. Now we just built him up like he was going to be a Mack truck. And the defenders for Jacksonville ejected him.
Yeah, the head-on collision. Wow. Big down. Let's see what he might throw it. He is. Neil O'Donnell looks. Open man. It's dropped. Tracy Green, a tight end. Oh. Slipping out. He was open.
What a play by Darren Carrington, I believe. His commitment to the play was such that he hurt himself.
Like Darren might have got knocked out.
Watch him at the end of this play, Don. He has to put his body in a weird position. He recognizes it. He's in between the 2 possible receiver, goes up, gets his right hand on the ball.
Oh, he hurt his... It's a pull. It's a leg muscle.
Yeah, it looked like he pulled a groin.
Yeah, it looked like a groin pull. So while Darren's attended to, there's a break in the action as the NFL on NBC continues. The Steeler drive stall, so for a second time in the third quarter, Norm Johnson drives through a field goal. And the Steelers inch back to within 7 points of the expansion Jaguars. It's 20-13. Johnson will be kicking off for Pittsburgh with 3:15 left to play in the third quarter. 2 long drives by the Steelers in this third quarter, but unable to get anything more than field goals each time. We'll be back with the Pittsburgh kickoff after this. NFL players do a lot of nice things off the field, like Darren Carrington and his charity that he and his wife are involved in called Dreams Come True. And there's one of the beneficiaries, 18-year-old Billy Davis.
Billy's has a terminal illness. His goal was his dream was to get a jersey. You see Darren there giving him his jersey and come to a game. So Vicky and Darren Carrington hired a limousine to bring young Billy to the game so that his big wish would come true. And there's a nice guy in the National Football League, and there are a lot of them.
Yes, there are.
What burns me up is you get a lot of publicity when you do bad things as a professional athlete, when many of these guys, a great number of these guys, are involved in wonderful things.
The preponderance of good is overwhelming.
It's the truth.
You don't hear good news on the 11 o'clock news.
Nope.
Here is the kick return now by Jimmy Smith. He gets out to the 21-yard line. Darren Carrington, of course, was the starting safety for the San Diego Chargers in the last Super Bowl. Tackle was made by Fuller on the play, number 29. He had 29 straight starts for San Diego. They caught him after the Super Bowl. There was some breakdowns in pass coverage, but there always are when Steve Young's throwing to Jerry Rice. He took the blame, but he was a very good pickup. And what a game he had last week at Houston. He keyed the victory as much as anyone. He had 2 fumble recoveries and an interception in the Jaguars' first win.
And 7 tackles.
Yeah.
To boot.
So he's a starter again, although he did pull a leg muscle, breaking up a pass. Pitch back goes to James Stewart, and he's out to the 22-yard line.
James Stewart carries.
And while we have a moment, let's go back to Greg Gumbel in New York for an update on the Oilers and the Vikings. Greg?
Well, Don, the Oilers have jumped back into it against Minnesota. Warren Moon over the middle. Chuck Cecil picks him off. Watch the cutback. He returns 20 yards for a touchdown. They convert the 2-point attempt, and it's now a 17-14 Minnesota lead on the Oilers. Back to Don and Beasley.
Cecil is a special guy in a special place.
He is an unusual guy.
Else.
Here's Brunell on the rollout. The rush comes, and they get him a sack for Kevin Green, his second of the day. Our producer Kevin Smolin, in touch with the Jaguars bench, has been informed that Carrington has a groin pull and will not return today.
The 19-yard line.
So the starting safety, one of them, is out now for the Jaguars, who have the ball and hold to a 20-13 lead as they let the clock tick down. We're in the third quarter. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to play in it. Brunell has been excellent at quarterback for Jacksonville. Long-haired Kevin Green digging in and teeing off. On a third and long play, Brunell gets time, fires downfield and hits grass. Incomplete. Mitchell was perfectly covered by the Steelers defense.
You know, earlier in this game, I talked a lot about Brian DeMarco and his challenge to stop Green. Well, the last couple of series, he has done a super job. We've got to praise him when he adjusts to the speed of a Kevin Green.
Talking to Dan Rooney, the president of the Steelers, he talked about having this team in their division is terrific because it's already a great franchise with maybe as good a stadium as there is in pro football. Jacksonville Municipal Stadium is really magnificent.
I certainly love it. It is beautiful.
Buffalo now leading the Jets 19-10.
Here's an opportunity for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get some good field position.
Hit downfield. Andre Hastings lets it roll. It takes a bounce back at the Jaguars. Karem's out of bounds at about the 48-yard line. Just a 34-yard punt. And so they will go on offense, will the Steelers, with very good field position. Next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Time, join us for Atlanta 1996. We'll look at 4 new Olympic events being introduced at next summer's Olympic Games that you'll see here on NBC. That's next Saturday, Atlanta 1996, here on NBC at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Could be a big year for Atlanta. Could have a World Series winner, but that's not decided yet. Some people calling the Braves the Buffalo Bills of baseball. They get close, but they've not won it since they were in Milwaukee. Neil O'Donnell, timing throw, not close, incomplete to Charles Johnson at the near side. Dropping back to cover on the play was Vinnie Clark.
That was the first blitz that I've seen in a while from Jacksonville, so they are not going to be content to allow Neil O'Donnell to hit the seam pass and the big over-the-middle routes to Yancey Thigpen the way they kind of backed off and played a soft zone in the last series, the one that put Pittsburgh in good position. So we'll see more of a challenge. The last time it was a blitz.
We'll see if there's another on 2nd down and 10. They go to the run. Bam Morris turns the corner and goes out of bounds at the 46-yard line. The Jets and the Bills, longtime adversaries in the AFC East, doing battle, and we go back to Greg in New York.
At Rich Stadium, Don, the New York Jets with Boomer Esiason down with a concussion. Bubby Brister, 16-yarder to the rookie Wayne Crabat, who finds the end zone. But Buffalo has added a field goal, Christie's 4th of the day, and they lead the Jets 19-10 in the 3rd. Don and Beasley.
Thank you, Greg. Neil O'Donnell, the quarterback of the Steelers, talking to us yesterday, kept going back to the fact the longer that they stay in the game, the tougher they're going to be to beat, referring to the Jaguars, and they're hanging in with the lead. A marker goes down as the pass comes in high to Andre Hastings, incomplete.
Jacksonville playing man-for-man defense and applying pressure. I tell you, I think that they kind of evaluated their defensive decisions on the last series where they allowed Neil O'Donnell to play against a soft zone.
On the defense, number 41. He lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. The measurement gives us a first down.
There is Dick Duran, defensive coordinator for the Jaguars.
Made a couple of nice defensive calls the last 2 plays. Unfortunately, his team jumps offside and gives the Steelers a first down. Those are the kind of mistakes. Boy, those are drive continuers and drive killers, depending on what your perspective, defensive or offensive.
And across the way, head coach Bill Cowher, the Steelers, talking about we need 4 good quarters. We haven't done that yet. They got stung early in this game. Down 14-0 early in the 2nd quarter with the Steelers. Now they're back to within 7. O'Donnell looking long. He's got a man. He's open. And the ball is that there's a penalty marker, and the ball's caught anyway by Yancey Thigpen. A man who came in as a special teams player but is turning into a star. Now what are they going to rule it? It's going to be against the defense.
No.
It's an interception.
Mickey Washington, number 25, took the ball away. And Don,
there's also a marker down.
Yeah, they'll have to sort this one out, but just to go through the play.
Steelers think they have the ball on the first down, 1st and goal. Well, we'll let the officials handle this.
Yeah, they'll have to sort this out, but it was...
that's why they come, right?
That's why they bring them here.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 45. Spot foul. Automatic. Touchdown.
As we told you they would, the Steelers rallying back. They'll have it 1st and goal.
Well, this is an easy touchdown if Neil O'Donnell throws the ball far enough. Watch the hesitating, go hesitate and go. So he's got to step on Washington. Washington actually grabbed Yancey's hand and pulled him back. Here's the other look.
It's a gesture of friendship.
See the elbow as he pushes him out of the way. But the actual pass interference came earlier when he reached out and grabbed his hand. That's a dangerous hit on O'Donnell toward the end, down around those knees by 92 Don Davey.
Yeah, he got him earlier and got flagged for it. Davey did. O'Donnell stands in, makes the throw. Yancey Thigpen, helmet-to-helmet hit And he is knocked down at about the 8-yard line. So believe it or not, well, it looked like a big play. Vinnie Clark's hard stick gave it just a 2-yard gain to the Steelers.
Yancey Thigpen has put on quite a show.
4 catches now for Yancey, 109 yards.
There's Yancey coming clear right over the middle. Ball behind him, takes a tough hit.
Only one turnover, that by the Steelers. Bill Cowher talking about cutting down on turnovers means focus, but you don't want to talk about it too much because people become so conscious they start getting tentative and keep turning it over. Here's Bam Morris trying in the middle. He protects the ball well with both arms, but he doesn't get close to the goal line. It brings up 3rd and goal from the 3. Tom Coughlin, the Jaguars coach, said everybody wants to run on us, but we're not easy to run on.
No, he sounded very confident, and he has reason to be. You know, Jeff Lagerman and Joel Smingy, Kelvin Pritchard, Don Davey, those are no slouches.
That'll do it for 3 exciting quarters. 15 minutes to go at Jacksonville, and the Jaguars still holding to a 20-13 lead. With Beasley, Reese, this is Don Criqui back at Jacksonville. Steelers with the ball. Big down coming up. 3rd and goal for the Steelers. They're down by 7 as we open the 4th quarter. O'Donnell gets time, throws high, too high. Andre Hastings can't come down. Well, Yancey Thigpen can't come down. And so 4th down arises, and for a 3rd time, Coach Powers has to send out his field goal kicker for a point-blank try.
The plan was for Yancey Thigpen to break inside and then circle around to the back of the end zone and out-jump everyone. Good try, didn't work.
Boy, this guy's turning into a terrific player, though. Thigpen. 22-yard attempt. Thigpen broke loose last year for 36 receptions. He has 30 already this year. The field goal try by Norm Johnson is good again for the season. He's now 12 for 15. He's put up 9 of the Steelers' 16 points, and they're back to within 4. They'll kick off when we come back.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Mitsubishi, the new thinking in automobiles. By AT&T, your true choice. And by Windows 95 from Microsoft. Where do you want to go today?
We're back as the Steelers are ready to kick it off after they've come to within 4 on the Norm Johnson field goal, his 3rd of the game. A high kick into the wind. Coming up on the ball is Vaughn Dunbar. He is across the 20 to the 22-yard line. Jacksonville was one of the quickest expansion teams ever to win its first game. They weren't the fastest, though. Minnesota Vikings were the quickest to win. They did it the first week they played football in the regular season when the Vikings under Norm Van Brocklin beat the Chicago Bears soundly back in 1961. Cincinnati won its first game and only its 2nd game, and the Bengals were in the playoffs in their 3rd year, which is pretty remarkable. Jacksonville winning its first game in its 5th game of its inaugural season. When will the 2nd come? Well, right now, as we start the 4th quarter, the Jaguars are in the lead. See the comparative numbers of Neil O'Donnell and Mark Brunell. Brunell at work now. The quarterback for the Jaguars stands in, swings it out. James Stewart loses his footing trying to cut back. Alvoid Mays positioning himself at the right corner to make the tackle.
The Jaguar offensive coaches have done a very good job of picking plays. You see how quickly the pressure comes? Well, it doesn't matter if you've got a sharp, quick-hitting, quick-action offensive play call. They know that they have to stay away from the 5 and 7 and 9 step drops because they can't block it. Pittsburgh is too good.
Stewart gets about 5. Levon Kirkland on the stop.
You're going to like this run. He starts one way, cuts back, and runs through tackles. That's what makes James Stewart so good. There wasn't a lot there. He ran over Tom Myslinski, And Brian DeMarco, who did a good job at the point of attack, but even when Stewart was hit, he drugged some people.
Stewart, the 19th pick in the first round, he selected even before Rashaan Salaam, the Heisman Trophy winner out of Colorado, was picked in the first round by the Bears. First down, Jaguars. Brunell against a blitz, stands in, lets it go long. He's got a man, and the race is on. Jimmy Smith will not catch him, and in he goes. He got a stride on Deion Figures, and Brunell hits him in stride. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. There's a penalty marker down in the Jaguars' backfield. It's coming back.
This Jacksonville choir.
Holding. Offense number 35. 10-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
Holding is the call, and the touchdown is negated.
How quickly did this crowd go from ecstasy to agony? Bottom of your screen, you see number 35 facing Kevin Green. Okay, I understand, son.
You did the right thing.
You have to hold him or get your quarterback killed. That's a perfect throw. What a great route. Unfair to Deion Figures. He's only
That's right,
78, 80% healthy, lining up for the team. Lining up because he needs to help the team. He's not really ready to be out there on the highway, which is what they call that cornerback position.
This is going right down to the final gun, as we said at the outset. Steelers down by 4. Dig in on defense as the Jaguars now have first down and 20 coming up. Or 22. Here's a blitz. They pick it up, go to the run, but the Steelers have got people in all the gaps, including Jerry Olszewski, the former Pitt Panther, who makes a big strike. Carolina has gone in front of Chicago in the fourth quarter, 20-17. Greg Tragan returned a fumble, a yard for a touchdown.
You know, psychologically, Don, Carolina will look at Jacksonville and say, now,
oh, yeah,
wait a minute, they won.
That's right.
Why can't we?
And they beat Jacksonville in the preseason, whatever that means. Brunell hit and dropped by Kevin Green. 3 sacks today for Green. And the Jaguars are knocked back to their 15-yard line.
Don, how many sacks did I tell you Kevin Green would get today?
Well, you were looking for 5 from the defense. They've had more than
3
that.
from Green.
He's now given officially 2.5 he's credited for. 5 for the season. Came in with 2.5.
I'm telling you, DeMarco is going to have trouble. Has had trouble with him. He went around DeMarco that time. And it's not fair. I mean, you have to schematically, you have to stop a Kevin Green.
Pro Bowl players have trouble with him.
That's right. You can't leave one guy to block him.
Boselli's done a tremendous job on the other side against Lloyd, though.
Yeah, Lloyd has been taken out.
Brunell takes a look, runs the ball. He's crossed the 20, but way short of the first down, and the Jaguars must punt the ball deep in their own end. So the Steelers down by 4 will get the ball in what could be very good field position. Down by a 20-16 score with 11:52 to play in the game. Ryan Barker, who's been one of the bright lights of this expansion team's first season, an excellent punter for the Jaguars. Hands in, hits it downfield. Hastings comes up on it, makes it at his 34. To go wide, and there's good special teams coverage by Jacksonville. A 45-yard punt by Barker and a return of just 1 yard. The Steelers down by just 4 now will have it when we come back.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Call now and have Domino's deliver the ultimate deep dish pizza. Because when it's gotta be deep, it's gotta be Domino's.
Well, after that touchdown was negated by a holding call on LeShay Maston, Kevin Gilbride of the Jaguars coaching staff had some heavy words for Maston. Then Coach Coughlin backed it up.
But Don, I think he'll apologize once he sees this. If he had not held the guy, he'd be looking for another quarterback. And I think schematically, you don't put a little running back to block Kevin Green. That's as much Gilbride's fault as it is LeShay Maston's.
And it brought back a 68-yard touchdown pass as Pegram runs the ball. Ball on the field. Looks like the Steelers got it back and got extra yardage when they did out to the 41-yard line. Some writers were calling this Oktoberfest for the Steelers, and that they play the expansion Jaguars twice this month. Also go against Cincinnati and have a week off. But this is no party for Coach Cowher.
No,
He expected a tough time, and he's getting it. Cincinnati's gone in front of Tampa Bay.
There's a look at the schedule. Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Chicago.
Big stuff on November 12th. I'll tell you that.
November 12th.
When the Browns come into Three River Stadium, you'll see Cleveland on many of these NBC stations in the doubleheader against the Lions of Detroit. Out pattern, wide open is Steve Avery, and he somehow squirms ahead on a 2nd and 4 play. Gets ahead for a gain of almost 14 yards and a first down for the Steelers, who trail by 4 in the 4th quarter. 10.5 to play in the game, the clock running.
Avery ends up all alone. Other receivers had run routes that take defenders out of those zones, and Avery slipped into a nice little pocket.
Avery playing in the Merrill Hodge role. Durable blocker. Good catcher when they throw it. Here's a long ball downfield, and whoa, is there going to be a marker in here? There is. There should be. Charles Johnson has been too tough for the corners to cover. They foul him way downfield. This game was going to go down to the final gun.
Vinnie Clark was in such good position that I don't understand this being a call. You can look at the players running right beside each other. Clark squeezing him out of bounds. That is not a pass. That is not pass interference. Vinnie had the superior position, and the fans should be booing here. He had a half step in front of the receiver. He was looking back for the football. You're supposed to replace the receiver's steps. You see Coughlin doesn't believe it. That's a bad call.
Well, you play the position. You're in position to say that. For many years, 32-yard penalty, and the Steelers down by 4, challenging. To the run, this is Eric Pegram, and he takes it down close to the 12-yard line. A great game, though, for television. Val Pinchbeck, the director of broadcasting and the man who puts the NFL schedule together, is here today. Last time we were here, the whole front office contingent of the NFL. Paul Tagliabue, the commissioner. Everybody was here on an opening day celebration as pro football came to Jacksonville in the regular season. Last week, the first celebration is the Jaguars beat Houston at the Astrodome. Now they're leading the Steelers, but the powerful Steelers are rallying back. Down by 4, 20-16. Over 9 minutes to go in the game. O'Donnell throws and overshoots Eric Pegram as the rush was on.
Jeff Lageman applying pressure. Haven't heard much out of Lageman today, but he is always a very active defensive effort. You want to see how he does here? There he is. Nice swim move to get inside, then correcting and chasing.
Lageman, who's been a standout. Now the Jaguars defense has to dig in. O'Donnell with a 3rd down call. 3rd down and 6. Deep drop. Here comes the rush. There's the throw. Makes the connection. And a submarine tackle of Steve Avery is made at the 7-yard line. And we'll see where the spot is. Mike Dumas, number 38, rocketed in and cut down Avery.
Mike Dumas is known for his hitting ability.
Looks like it's going to be just short, Beasley, the first down.
It's the most dangerous tackle in the game, where you have to take on a guy that outweighs you by 40 pounds.
Get low.
Get low. Hope that
like
knee
ankle high. Yeah, that can happen when you get low. That knee can go out and get you.
Yeah, that's a dangerous tackle. Knee will catch you on the head.
Wow, what a scenario now. The Steelers down by 4 points. 9 minutes to play in the game. Come up short on 3rd down. And they're sending in the power package. Bam Morris comes in.
Well, there are 9 minutes left, so there's plenty of time. But this will go down as one of those plays that
decides the outcome of the game. Gibson, number 98, the big lineman, is back in to block on the short yardage play. This is it.
Remember last time on a short yardage, O'Donnell threw but couldn't make the connection. The ball was there, but his man couldn't catch it. And Morris. Oh, man, this is going to be as close as it gets. If he's got it, it's by the nose of the ball, where the linesman came in. Stop the clock, stop the action, take off the headset. Coach Bill Cowher. Steelers say they've got it. I tell you, it is a case of inches. I don't know if he's got it. This is something, Beasley. This is going to be.
This.
If he's got it, he might be about 4 inches short. Or if he's got it, it's by the nose of the ball. He's short. The Jaguars take over the ball. What a game. A great league at its very best. Well, that helps Lachey Mastin's status. He's been terrific, though, this kid.
Wow.
Man, this is big time. This is. And I'll tell you this, the Steelers will be back.
Well, they've got plenty of time.
The Steelers will be back in this game.
Shea Mastin wipes his brow. He goes, this thing would have been blamed on me.
Yes, indeed. Handoff. Jaguars trying to get some room, and the Steelers not about to give any. Greg Lloyd, number 95. Perhaps the most talked about outside linebacker since your friend LT, Lawrence Taylor. Plays the same kind of a game.
Greg Lloyd plays with aggressive, bad intentions.
Well, guy, his opponents like Lagerman praised him. They said he's not a dirty player.
Oh, no, not at all.
He is just a ferocious player. Second down, Jaguars need 8. Brunell steps in. They give him a little time. He lets it go long. A daring play, and he overshoots his man. Cedric Tillman, who caught a touchdown ball. And the Jaguar fans want one of those interference calls. But none is forthcoming. Alvoid Mays, the right cornerback, who played for a Redskins Super Bowl championship team in '91 for Coach Joe Gibbs. He was the man defending on the play, number 28. Ran an interception back for a touchdown last week.
Yeah, that was quite a week. Both of those corners, Alvoid Mays and Williams, returning balls for touchdowns.
7 minutes and 58 seconds to play. One enormous play after another emerges in this game. Another's coming now. Third down.
Brunell takes a timeout.
And well, he should get all the counsel he can get, as Brunell and the Jaguars need 8 yards on the next third down play as the NFL on NBC continues. We return to Jacksonville Stadium to remind you that coming up on most of these NBC stations, game 2 of a doubleheader day, the Browns versus the Lions in a big one. A lot of Cleveland fans watching this game, rooting for the Jaguars, who are in trouble right now. Brunell on a rollout, heading downfield, and he didn't get there. The Steelers stop him on third down, and Jacksonville will have to punt. Doubleheader game for many of these stations will be Cleveland at Detroit. Some of you will see the undefeated Dolphins go against Marshall Faulk on the Colts from Joe Robbie Stadium. In the West, the Seahawks visit the Raiders. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Kevin Green has 3 career safeties.
Yeah, but the Jaguars had 2 men on Kevin Green that time. That's the way it should have been the entire game.
Big rush by the Steelers, but Barker gets it away. Takes a high hop downfield. It takes a Jaguars bounce, and it'll roll dead at the 42-yard line of the Steelers. 44-yard punt, and again, no return. Well done by Barker, having the kick from his end zone. 7:33 left to play.
Down by Roderick Green. First down, Pittsburgh.
Neil O'Donnell getting advice from Ron Earhart, his offensive coordinator. O'Donnell with good numbers today. Has not been intercepted, coming back after a 4-week layoff with a fractured hand.
Earhart, the offensive coordinator for a couple of Super Bowl victories
with the
for
Giants.
The Giants.
He was.
Been around forever.
He's one of the best. And he'll need all his guile now, along with his quarterback O'Donnell. Steelers need a touchdown. Here comes the Jaguars rush. O'Donnell gets it away downfield, and Thigpen with a beautiful grab. Down to the 37-yard line.
Tackled by number 25.
A 22-yard gain on the play, and the Steelers drive on. And we welcome those of you who've been watching Cincinnati and Tampa Bay. 7 minutes to play here at Jacksonville. Don Criqui with Beasley Reese. Steelers trailing the expansion Jaguars 20-16. Pittsburgh with the ball. 1st and 10. Eric Pegram looks for room to run and find some as he gets down to the 33-yard line. Steelers need a touchdown. This has been a game of big plays. Only one turnover, that committed by the Steelers punt returner Andre Hastings, which Jacksonville promptly turned into a second touchdown and a 14-0 lead earlier.
Jacksonville has been very impressive throughout this football game, taking the first drive straight down, making a statement to Pittsburgh. The Steelers playing comeback right now.
Neil O'Donnell returning after a month's absence with a fractured hand, playing beautifully for Pittsburgh. Stands in, takes a look, overshoots Avery. Coverage was there, and O'Donnell stops the clock with still a lot of time left to play. 6 minutes and 11 seconds to go.
Jacksonville Jaguars are playing man for man and sending one or two blitzers at a time.
And now those of you who've been watching Cincinnati and Tampa Bay, we'll send you back to that game after this update from Jacksonville. Third down comes up for Neil O'Donnell and the Steelers. He positions in the shotgun. They need 6 yards. What a play. Andre Hastings, who fumbled the ball early, and now the ball is separated from Hastings. He had it. He was struck hard by Mike Dumas. Roderick Green picks it up, but it's ruled an incomplete pass, and this brings up 4th down. Another momentous decision for the coaching staff of the Steelers.
Hard hitting is a technique in football. It's not, you know, some people think it's strictly intimidation and things like that, but hard hitting is a simple technique that forces people to let the football go. Hastings knows he's in a dangerous position, outstretched, having to go high for the ball. Now, O'Donnell came up limping after this play.
Now the Steelers call a timeout before setting up for what would be a 53-yard field goal try. I'll tell you one thing, nobody's leaving this one. What a game. The NFL at its very best on NBC. Boy, we have it happening here at Jacksonville. Don Criqui with Beasley Reese. 4th down arises for the Steelers with 6 minutes and 4 seconds to play. As you see, the favored Steelers down to the Jaguars 20-16. 4th down coming up. They set up originally for a long field goal. Now the Steelers will go for it. Go for the first down.
4th and 6.
Steelers have done well on 4th down so far this season, but this is a long play. All-out blitz is coming. Penalty marker down, and he is not close, Neil O'Donnell, as he fires the ball over the head of the receiver, Yancey Thigpen, but let's see what the penalty call is.
I love the defensive call by Jacksonville.
Before the snap, a false start on the offense.
Pittsburgh. The play is negated.
Please put 6:04 back on the game clock. 6:04 back on the game clock, please.
I love the call by Jacksonville. The offensive linemen see the blitz. They start to rock back just a little bit. What a gutsy call by the defense of Jacksonville. The all-out blitz is what they decide to answer the challenge of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh saying it's 4th and 6.
And the Steelers now will punt the ball. Yeah, they're going to punt it.
That's right. You stopped us once, stop us again, and Jacksonville does it.
Then it'll be incumbent Beasley on the Jacksonville offense to run the ball and try to keep it away from the Steelers, who will be hunting the football. Oh, this is a dandy. This is why we do this instead of having real jobs, right? There's the ticker. The Bill now commanding the Jets, 26-10. A team in disarray, the Jets. Dallas up on the Packers by 10.
I'm telling you something, that blitz that Jacksonville called was no casual blitz. They sent everybody.
They had the taxi squad coming. Everybody.
You know, that's when your mindset is, okay, let's win it. You know, they didn't go zone. They didn't play half zone, half man. They weren't careful. They said, let's take this game.
Tom Coughlin, the Jaguars coach, says our game plan is to stay in the 4th quarter so that we have a chance to win it. They've led this entire game. The ball caroms into the end zone, so the Jaguars, with 5:57 to play, will get the ball 1st and 10 at their 20. Trying to run some clock and keeping it away from the Steelers.
20-yard line.
Conditioning a factor in this game. Hot and humid, although there's a breeze blowing. See the timeout count. Each team left with just 1. Coach Coughlin looking at the computer printout and the tendencies. They've gambled today, though, coming in with the 30th ranked offense. The last offense in the NFL. The Jaguars haven't been that today. They've moved the ball in this tough Steeler defense, and they've thrown when you least expect it. A lot of times on 1st down. Brunell, hands off. Steelers get nothing to the run. Winston Buckner and Jerry Olsofsky shut down James Stewart.
Played to perfection by the Steeler defense. Started out with number 91 Kevin Green moving outside to force the play to cut up. And when he cut up into all of Kevin's friends.
There were many. Jaguars have not turned the ball over. See the total yards. Jaguars with an advantage in time of possession, but the all-important numbers on the board. It's 20-16 to score. Brunell lofts it up, gets Stewart, and a very good open field play by the all-pro linebacker Greg Lloyd, who brings him down. Gain of only about 3 yards.
A double zone that time by Pittsburgh. They had 2 safeties covering half the field, 2 corners covering the flats, and they noticed the angle that Brunell is pointing with his shoulders, and look how everybody converges to make the play. Very little gain. Dick LeBeau, the defensive genius behind this football team. Looks like they're lined up in another zone principle, a double zone.
And another huge down. 3rd down for Brunell. Here comes the Steeler rush. Brunell takes off. And they put a head-on shot on him. That was Lloyd who got him helmet to helmet. Wow. So that brings up 4th down, and the Jaguars have to punt the ball.
Well, I'm surprised that Brunell got up after that one.
Yeah, that looked like a knockout
That
tackle.
looked like the knockout punch. Watch this.
Clean as could be.
Clean. Watch the end of it right here. Wow. Oh, that's a Greg Lloyd special.
Huge punt, but Hastings will run it back. Nothing. Steelers cannot find a channel to open up. And the Jaguars sweep him under at the 22-yard line. A 61-yard punt by the sensational Brian Barker. He's been as much a part of this Jaguar effort as anybody.
3 minutes and 52 seconds left, Don. The Jaguar defense. Well, the coaches are checking Mark Brunell out to make sure that he's okay after that tremendous strike by Greg Lloyd. Apparently he is. When you're hitting the head like that, they ask you things like, What town are you in?
Like, who are you?
Who are you?
It's not funny either.
No, it's not.
It gets that basic to see where your orientation is. First down, Steelers. They try to run. Nothing. As Coughlin says, they all try to run on us, but we're not easy to run on. Joel Smingy, number 99, makes the knockdown as Howard now sees the precious seconds starting to tick away. Time very much a factor on this Steeler possession.
Pittsburgh Steelers ran into a little something they weren't expecting here. I don't care what you tell me. If they'd come in here motivated, pumped up, fired up, believing that they were about to face a challenge, they wouldn't be in this situation.
Well, they know they're in a challenge now, as tough a one as they've been in. Here's a long ball. Yancey, Thigpen's got it and almost breaks it. Thigpen with another standout play for the Steelers. Grabs it, going high to take it away from Mickey Washington. 29-yard gain.
Don Dumas went for the interception. He could have certainly hit Thigpen hard enough to make him let this ball go. Watch this. See Dumas flash by. He was looking for the ball. He thought he had an interception. Had he have gone for the man, Thigpen, he probably would have dislodged the football.
Looks like another John Stallworth, a free agent with 6 catches today for 161 yards. O'Donnell gets time. He fires and makes the connection. Working hard is this rookie tight end from Washington, Mark Bruner, who fights his way ahead down to the 45-yard line of the Jaguars. It's an 7-yard pickup. 2nd and 3. Tackled by Harry Cullen, the strong safety.
Don, you just saw 2 nice and easy zones by the Jaguar defense. That will change probably now. They might run one more zone, but I would run one more zone and then get real tight man for man.
Markers are thrown in. Penalty markers thrown in. Well, it just stopped the clock with the 2-minute warning given. 2 minutes to go, and we come back to Jacksonville on the NFL on NBC. 2 minutes to go at Jacksonville. Steelers have the ball. 2nd down and 3. Backpedal by Neil O'Donnell. Loose the ball down deep. There's Thigpen. He can't make the play at the 10-yard line. The sensational Yancey Thigpen almost burned him again, but the ball caroms away.
Well, Harry Cullen will be credited with making the play here, but I promise you he is late. That should have been a reception and maybe even a touchdown. You see the slant in and go. It's a cover 2, so the safety is charged with the responsibility of coming all the way across. Cullen a little bit late getting there, getting the hand in. He has reason to celebrate.
Steelers only 4 of 13 converting 3rd downs against this Jacksonville team. This is 3rd down, and they need a long 3. Incomplete, and again 4th down arises for Pittsburgh. This time they have to go for it with 1:52 to play.
Dave Thomas with the knockdown. Look at Jacksonville play defense. That's back-to-back big plays by the secondary.
This is a team, the Steelers, who blew out the defending American Conference champions, the San Diego Chargers, last week 31-16. This is a team many project as the AFC Super Bowl team. The expansion Jaguars have proven as tough as anybody Pittsburgh's played this year.
The 3rd critical 4th down situation for the Steelers.
O'Donnell looks. He can run for it if he goes. He's got it. He could go for it. He had it if he ran, but he elected not to run. It was there.
It was there. This crowd is going crazy. Everyone in the stadium is standing up. And the 1st down marker is about 7 yards past that 50. Neil had to run about 5 yards.
He pulls up looking for somebody
starting
on
right
field.
now. If he runs forward, he gets it.
make quick decisions, and he thought he could hit somebody downfield, and now look at the room.
You know, that angle showed you how much room he had. Probably would have had to lower his shoulder right at the end.
Handoff, and the Jacksonville Jaguars now content to run the ball. The Steelers will have to use their last timeout. With 1:35 to play, it does a chance to tell you that the executive producer of NBC Sports is Tommy Roy. Coordinating producer of NFL football, John Faratzis. Today's game was produced by Kevin Smolin, directed by Dick Klein. Associate director, Carol Larson. We come down the stretch run. The NFL on NBC was produced by Ricky Diamond and directed by John Gilmartin. As the Jaguars looking to run out the clock for their second win in the history of this young franchise. Just 6 games old.
You beat the Steelers and you can beat anybody. I don't think there's anybody sitting down in this stadium. They're all standing up, clapping their hands.
It's absolutely a city in celebration over this football team. Wayne Weaver, its owner, a proud man of victory last week and now one at home. And the Jaguars content to put 2 arms on the ball and let time tick away. The Steelers now powerless to stop the ball. They're out of stop the clock. They're out of timeouts. Bill Cowher, whose Steelers came out of a tailspin last week with the win over San Diego, now back in one, and here's one of their key players down. It's like Kevin Green.
Well, the fans are booing here. They're accusing.
Oh, okay.
Timeout to Pittsburgh. 40-second timeout. We will also reset the play clock to 40 seconds, and when injured players removed, we will wind the clock.
See if we can see what happens to it here. The whole pile falls on top of it.
Yeah. Buffalo on the way to beating the Jets. Commanding lead as the Jets really having trouble this year. Dallas wins against the Packers and extends its record to 5-1.
Aikman was supposed to be hurt. Throws for 2 touchdowns and a ton of yards.
Look of overtime at Minneapolis between the Oilers and the Vikings. And maybe the same thing at Tampa Bay, where the Bengals and the Buccaneers are tied up. Now Kevin Green's up and walking off under his own power.
Chicago takes the lead over Carolina on a
Let's start the clock again.
Beautiful punt return for a touchdown.
Tom Coughlin, he's suspect. Listen, if you're a Steeler, he did the right thing. You do what it takes. But the clock starts up again. 3rd down coming up.
You can't fool these officials. They put time back on the clock and then started it rolling.
There's still 25 seconds to go on the play clock, so the Jaguars will line up for quite some time. And now we'll have a conversation and talk it over with the referee, Mike Carey, walking confidently up to his center. 5 seconds left, and they're going to run it all the way down and take the 5 yards, apparently.
He's calling timeout. Right before the penalty, he calls the timeout.
My friends, this one is over before it's over.
What a beautiful
Jacksonville is going to win this game on a doubleheader day on NBC Sports. And if you'll see the Browns go against the Lions at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. Others will see the Colts against the unbeaten Dolphins in Miami. And Seattle goes against what many are now starting to think is the best team in the American Conference, the Oakland Raiders. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
Don, one thing's for sure,
quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars for the rest of this season. His name is Mark Brunell. He earned it in bits and pieces during the season.
Right, he was in and out.
Yeah.
No question.
But today, he made a statement, and it will be heard around the National Football League.
Yeah, this will rock the league. Last week winning at Houston was big news, but this is more than big news, and Brunell's not letting that football get away. They'll take that home to the Brunell trophy cabinet as the coaches come out. Really the most significant win by any team in the NFL this season. Jacksonville beating Pittsburgh. This is big news. And they earned it. Prepared on both sides of the ball. You've not heard the last of the Steelers this season for sure. They'll be back, but Jacksonville continues as the expansion team that nobody wants to play. Former teammates at Washington, Mark Brunell, and the tight end from the Steelers, Mark Bruner. So the final score, the Jacksonville Jaguars 20 and the Pittsburgh Steelers 16. Coming up next, game 2 of our NFL doubleheader on NBC. For Beasley, Reese, this is Don Criqui. So long from Jacksonville. This has been a presentation of the NFL on NBC, home of Super Bowl 30.